Chapter 24:19, second on the longevity roll. Whoosh. 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 Qiju finally attacked. He shouted in a low voice. At least 3/10 of the purple scales on his body flew out toward Lu Ming. These scales were like small flying daggers. They were extremely sharp and powerful, cutting the space into chaos. Buzz. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and the strength of his physical body was activated to the extreme. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the inextinguishable golden body. Lu Ming had successfully cultivated all 18 types of laws contained in the indestructible ancient scroll. In fact, Lu Ming even tried to make changes to the indestructible ancient scroll by adding in a few laws. This made the power of the indestructible ancient scroll even stronger, and its recovery and defense abilities became even more shocking. Lu Ming did not retaliate at all, allowing the scales to cut his body. Buzz. 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 Sparks flew in all directions. When the scales cut Lu Ming's body, there was a continuous clanging sound that was extremely ear-piercing. However, none of the scales could break through Lu Ming's defense. The scales flew past, but Lu Ming was completely fine. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Many people knew how terrifying the Qiju skill was. Those scales were 100 times, 1,000 times sharper than a real flying knife. Once it erupted, it was indestructible. Even those on the longevity roll who were ranked higher than Kuei-ju didn't dare to take it head-on. They could only think of ways to avoid it. However, Lu Ming did not retaliate at all. He just stood there and allowed Kuei-ju to attack him. However, he could not break through Lu Ming's defense. How was this possible? What was going on? Many people were dumbfounded. Qiju himself was stunned. After a long time, everyone finally reacted. I don't believe it. Just watch me break your defense. All of you, Qiju hollered in rage and pushed with both hands. The purple light on his body was extremely bright and all the scales on his body burst forth. The countless scales were like flying daggers. There were thousands of them. Lu Ming still did not move, allowing the thousands of scales to slash at his body. Buzz. Whoosh. Ear-piercing sounds were heard continuously. After the concentrated sounds passed, Lu Ming was still standing there, perfectly fine. There was not a single wound on his body. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This kind of defensive power was too terrifying. It doesn't have any power at all. Are you playing house? Lu Ming's disdainful voice was heard and Qiju's face turned red. The attack that he was so proud of was said to be child's play by Lu Ming. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. The third move, die. Kuei-ju roared as he waved his hands. Thousands of scales gathered together and connected to each other, forming a huge flying knife. The power of this flying knife was several times stronger than the scattered scales, and the attack power was completely concentrated. Whoosh! The flying daggers flew toward Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with solemnity. The power of this flying knife was enough to threaten him. Lu Ming's body glowed continuously. In the end, he used more than 40 types of laws. More than 40 types of laws condensed into a long spear in Lu Ming's hands. Whoosh! Lu Ming thrust his spear. The two blades met in the air and exploded with a blinding light. The rings of light were even more dazzling than the sun. Bang! In the end, Lu Ming's body trembled slightly and he took a few steps back. The flying knife that Qiju condensed immediately collapsed and turned into purple scales that flew in all directions. Then, they flew back into Kuei-ju's body and disappeared. Qiju's body retreated as his blood churned and his face turned pale. 3 moves. Lu Ming said calmly and Qiju's face turned pale. According to the agreement, if he did not defeat Lu Ming in 3 moves, he would lose. I've lost. Qiju sighed and retreated. In fact, even if he did not admit defeat, he was not Lu Ming's match. He had used his strongest technique, but he still could not do anything to Lu Ming. The result would be the same if he continued to fight. Qiju lost. Many alien races had unsightly expressions. Lu Ming's combat strength was simply unfathomable. It was as if he had no foundation. Starting from Mo Tianluo, he had completely swept through all the battles. No matter how strong the people were, they could only fail. What do we do? Many people turned to look at the youths. These people were ranked above Kuei Ju on the longevity roll. However, at this moment, these people looked at each other with grave expressions. For a moment, no one made a move. Although Qiju's ranking was lower than theirs, Qiju's explosive power wasn't lower than theirs. In fact, it was even stronger. Their combined combat strength was above Kuei Ju's. However, if they were to be like Lu Ming and take 3 moves head-on from Kuei Ju, they would be the ones who would be defeated. Under such circumstances, even Qiju was defeated. Could they defeat Lu Ming if they went up? They had no confidence at all. The other foreign races were also silent. Could it be that no one could suppress Lu Ming? Could it be that the Heavenly Emperor had to make a move? However, a celestial the Arch who had cultivated for God knows how many years would be embarrassed if he were to attack a junior like Lu Ming. Even if he won, it would be an unfair victory. I didn't expect that a human who has cultivated for less than 200 years would have such combat power. I'm itching for a fight. At this moment, a chuckle was heard. Then, a young figure appeared in the air. Lu Ming was slightly stunned at the sight of this person. This was because this alien race was different from the alien races that Lu Ming had seen in the past. This foreign being looked very similar to a human, but he was different from the royal family of the foreign race. He had long red hair, and the third eye between his eyebrows was red like a small sun. This was especially so for the pair of wings on his back. They were also fiery red, and there were even flames burning on them. This was the first time Lu Ming had seen such a foreign tribe. "It's Prince Condor!" Someone exclaimed in surprise. "A prince?" It seems that this Kong duo is also a royal member of a foreign tribe. It seems that there is more than one appearance of a foreign royal member. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Prince Condor actually came. Prince Condor is ranked second on the longevity roll. He's about to make a move. I haven't seen Prince Condor in action for many years, at least hundreds of years. This is a good time. Many people were discussing in surprise. With a gentle smile on his face, Kong Duo nodded to the crowd. Then, he flapped his wings and flew toward Lu Ming. "To be honest, I've never seen someone as powerful as you in less than 200 years of cultivation. Even if that fellow were to reach your level of combat strength, he would have spent more time than you." Kong Duo smiled. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Who was the guy that Kong Duo was talking about? Kando, go all out, you must defeat him. At this moment, a voice sounded in Kong Duo's ears. "Father." Kong Duo was shocked. Chapter 2421 Furnace of Incineration. Kong Duo was shocked. He didn't expect his father to be near the holy mountain and to be paying attention to this matter. His father had even ordered him to defeat Lu Ming. Who was his father? He was the king of one of the 10 great royal families. How could he pay attention to this place and Lu Ming? This kid, what's his background? Kong Duo was extremely confused, but a determined look flashed in his eyes. He had to defeat Lu Ming. Kong Duo nodded silently and looked at Lu Ming. "Lu Ming, make your move." All 3 of Condor's eyes glowed with a fiery red light. At the same time, his body was also covered in flames. With a flap of its wings. Buzz! Kong Duo dashed towards Lu Ming like a fiery red bolt of lightning. In the process, a combat sword appeared in his hand. It was crystal clear like fire jade and he slashed it at Lu Ming. Peak Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed the moment Kong Duo made his move. Kong Duo was a Peak Emperor, and he wasn't an ordinary Peak Emperor. He was a genius, and his battle strength was stronger than ordinary Peak Emperors. Compared to the human race, he was equivalent to a Peak Great Emperor who had mastered the strongest Great Tao, or even stronger. There was no need to doubt the strength of such a person. He was almost invincible under the Heavenly Emperor realm. Open it. Lu Ming muttered. All the energy in his body erupted. On his body, rays of light flashed continuously. It was a series of laws, and in total, 81 laws had erupted. In an instant, Lu Ming's strength exploded to the maximum. If it was before he came to the alien race, when Lu Ming was still in control of more than a dozen laws, he would not have been a match for a Peak Emperor with his own strength. Just like when he was on the Void God Island, he had to rely on his Heavenly Emperor corporeal body to fight Peak Great Emperors. However, things were different now. Although his physical body hadn't improved, he had mastered 81 laws. His combat power had increased greatly, and he was confident that he could fight a Peak Great Emperor. The 81 types of laws finally transformed into a chaotic-colored battle suit that covered Lu Ming's body. At the same time, the Great Desolation Spear appeared in Lu Ming's palm. Buzz! Lu Ming's spear swept out and the space exploded. The Great Desolation Spear emitted a terrifying vibration and collided with Kong Duo's combat sword. Boom! It was as if two stars had crashed into each other, creating a terrifying boom and a scorching light. Immediately after, their bodies trembled and they retreated. What a terrifying power! The power of the flames has even surpassed the laws and the great Taos. It can burn everything. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The other party's flame power had a shockingly high temperature. Even though he had a battle suit condensed from 81 kinds of laws, it was almost destroyed. However, he didn't know that Kong Duo was also shocked. In the entire evil god world, there were only a handful of people below the Celestial Emperor who could compete with him. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was clearly not at the Peak Great Emperor realm yet, but he was able to block his attack. The thoughts of the two of them turned quickly, but their figures did not stop at all. After retreating, the two of them stepped on the void and rushed towards each other again. Boom! 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 The two of them engaged in an intense battle. The space was smashed by the two of them, and no one stayed within hundreds of thousands of miles. This battle was too terrifying. Other than the Celestial the Arch, if anyone else was sucked into it, they would only be left with death. The two of them fought in the dark void at times, and at other times, they fought in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged hundreds of moves, and it was difficult to determine the winner. How terrifying! All the alien races were shocked. It was amazing that Lu Ming could actually fight with Kong Duo to this extent. Mo Tianluo, in particular, was extremely shocked. Among all of them, he felt it the most because he had fought with Lu Ming in the past. However, if Lu Ming were to exert his full strength, he could crush him with one finger. In the depths of the sky, the few non-human kings were also silent and looked on without blinking. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 200 moves. Satisfying. Lu Ming let out a long howl. His eyes were filled with a bright fighting spirit and his muscles were trembling with excitement. It had been more than 100 years since he had fought to his heart's content. Deep down in his bones, he loved to fight and kill. He could only improve faster in battle. In the battle against Condor, he was able to use all of his strength to the extreme and display it to his heart's content. Reincarnation cutting, Death's Abyss. Chaos Crush, Spacetime Cage. Karmic Cycle. Heavenly Wheel of Fate. As Lu Ming's figure flashed, he cast all kinds of terrifying divine abilities. These divine abilities were created by Lu Ming after combining various laws over the years. They were extremely powerful. Each divine ability had a different effect, but when used together, it had endless uses. The more they fought, the stronger Lu Ming became. He became more and more skilled in the use of various divine powers and slowly gained the upper hand. Kong Duo started to be suppressed and retreated. "Is this all you've got? This is truly disappointing." Lu Ming's voice was heard, causing Kong Duo's expression to turn ugly. "Since you're looking for death, it'll fulfill your wish, incinerating furnace." Kong Duo roared. His third eye suddenly burst out with a blazing light. Hoo hoo hoo. His third eye turned into a fiery red vortex, spinning rapidly. A terrifyingly hot temperature permeated the air. In addition, there was a terrifying suction force that wanted to suck Lu Ming in. Buzz! Lu Ming's muscles trembled rapidly. At the same time, he used the 6 feathered divine wings in an attempt to escape from the suction force. The suction force was shockingly strong. Lu Ming found it difficult to escape. "Come in!" Kong Duo bellowed. His body was covered in scorching flames as he charged at Lu Ming at an equally fast speed. The closer he got to Lu Ming, the stronger the attraction in his third eye. Through the eye, Lu Ming could even see a fire furnace with burning flames inside. "Get in!" Kong Duo roared. "Let's see if you have the ability to do so." Lu Ming said coldly. He shook the long spear and exploded the void, tearing the suction force apart. Then, he retreated quickly and avoided Kong Duo. However, Condor's speed was also astonishingly fast. He chased after Lu Ming at an extreme speed, making it difficult for Lu Ming to escape. Condor's body even started to melt, turning into rays of light and flying into his third eye. In the end, Condor's body completely disappeared and flew into his third eye. Then, a fire furnace appeared in the air. Buzz! The fire furnace trembled and expanded rapidly. In the end, it was bigger than hundreds of mountains. It pressed down on Lu Ming and sealed the void. An even more terrifying suction force acted on Lu Ming, causing his body to stiffen. Buzz! The furnace pressed down and devoured Lu Ming directly into the furnace, causing him to disappear. Chapter 24-21. The first Prince Kong Duo's body turned into a huge furnace and swallowed Lu Ming. Seeing that Lu Ming was swallowed into the furnace, many of the alien tribe leaders heaved a sigh of relief. "That kid is finished." The burning furnace is the most powerful technique of the Kando bloodline. It is inherited from the bloodline. Once swallowed, the only thing you can do is burn to ashes. Look at how arrogant that kid is. He's dead for sure. Those alien races were discussing with great joy. Not far away, Jia Yi's eyes flashed. He wanted to help, but he knew that there were many kings watching from the sky. If the kings did not ask him to help, he would naturally not help. In the depths of the sky, the various kings were indeed watching. What should we do? Should we save him? He has the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. He can't die. A non-human king said. I think we'll see. With the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart in him, I don't think he'll die so easily. Not bad, let's take a look. The other non-human kings nodded. They thought that it would be better to let Lu Ming beg for mercy. As soon as Lu Ming was swallowed into the incinerating furnace, he felt endless flames engulfing him and burning fiercely. The terrifying high temperature was about to burn him into ashes. Lu Ming covered his entire body with the 81 types of laws. At the same time, he circulated the indestructible ancient scroll to resist the burning power from the outside. However, the flames were indeed terrifying. Their power was too shocking. Even if there were many nomological laws intertwined together, they would still be burned. One law after another was burned through. It was not that Lu Ming's law was not powerful. It was just that compared to their current combat strength, the law was slightly inferior. One had to know that the Great Emperor realm corresponded to the Great Tao. Thus, even a profound law like the law of fate would find it difficult to display its profound effects at this time. It would also be burned through. Through the laws, a terrifying heat flow coursed through Lu Ming's entire body. His muscles were on the verge of being burned. Waves of piercing pain spread throughout Lu Ming's body. The clothes and hair on his body instantly turned to dust. Lu Ming circulated the indestructible ancient scroll to resist the attack with all his might. Now, the indestructible ancient scroll's recovery ability was even more shocking. After his muscles were burned, they immediately recovered and were as white as jade. Lu Ming relied on the indestructible ancient scroll to persevere. This furnace is indeed powerful, but it can't do anything to me. I can use the flames here to temper my body. Lu Ming revealed a smile on his face. In the past 100 years, there were not many good natural treasures. Lu Ming had been cultivating his physical body, and his seven gods' mysterious technique had been progressing step by step. He had also reached the limit of the middle fifth stage, but he had been stuck at a bottleneck. This time, he might be able to find an opportunity to break through. Lu Ming reduced the power of the indestructible ancient scroll slightly and used some flames to help temper his body. Chi chi chi. Some flames spread all over Lu Ming's body. The terrifyingly high temperature seeped into Lu Ming's bones, internal organs, and even every cell, wanting to burn Lu Ming into ashes. Lu Ming circulated the seven gods' mysterious technique and began to temper his body. Just like that, 3 hours passed in the blink of an eye. Outside, countless beings of the foreign races were waiting patiently for the furnace in the sky. That kid, has he been refined? It's been 3 hours. If an ordinary master of the same level as Kong Duo was sucked into the furnace, he would be refined in less than half an hour. But Kong Duo didn't stop. That kid shouldn't have been refined yet. It's been so long, will Kong Duo be unable to hold on? Many alien races started to discuss among themselves. They were confused. In the blink of an eye, another 2 hours had passed. It had been 5 hours since Lu Ming was sucked into the furnace. Why is the power of the flames weakening? And at 1s getting weaker? In the furnace, Lu Ming was puzzled. It seems that maintaining the high temperature of the furnace also requires energy. That condo, he can't hold on any longer. Lu Ming made a guess. However, Lu Ming was satisfied. After 5 hours of tempering, Lu Ming's body had made great progress. He felt that his physical body could break through at any time. Once he broke through to the late stage of the 5th level of the seven gods' mysterious art, he would be able to suppress peak emperors with his body alone. In addition to the power of the world and the 81 laws, Lu Ming's combat strength would skyrocket. Another half an hour passed and the power of the flames in the furnace became weaker. It was not of much use to Lu Ming's tempering. Time to go out. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He held the Great Desolation Spear and rushed to one side. Boom! Lu Ming thrust his spear and it hit the wall of the furnace. The furnace shook violently. Boom! 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 Lu Ming burst out with all his might and attacked continuously. The furnace shook even more violently as if it was going to explode. Outside, all the foreign kinds were shocked. Not good. That brat isn't dead. He's attacking the furnace. How terrifying. He's still alive after so long. What kind of freak is that kid? The furnace can't hold on any longer. Many alien races were shocked. Boom! 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 The furnace shook violently. From the outside, one could see that one side of the wall of the furnace was bulging. Finally, cracks covered the wall. Boom! In the end, the entire furnace exploded, and waves of heat swept in all directions. A shrill cry reverberated in all directions, and everyone saw Kong Duo's body flying far away. His face was pale, and his breath was extremely weak. The third eye of Condor was already closed, but blood was still flowing out. The furnace was broken, and Condor was severely injured. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and stood in the void. His aura was extremely vigorous and he was completely fine. "You've lost," Lu Ming said. "Ow." Kong Duo sighed and didn't say anything. He flew to the side and sat down cross-legged, his body covered in a layer of flames as he began to heal. The non-humans present looked at each other. Kando was actually defeated. If even Kong Duo was no match for Lu Ming, then who else on the longevity roll or below the Heavenly Emperor realm could be a match for Lu Ming? Could it be that the mighty evil god tribe of the vast evil god world was going to be bullied by a human brat? No. It seems like only the first prince can suppress him under the Heavenly Emperor realm. At this moment, someone spoke. Hearing this, all the alien races present were shocked. Then, their eyes lit up. That's right. We can only ask the first prince to make a move. The first prince has the purest bloodline of the divine ancestor. His talent is the best in our clan since ancient times. He can definitely suppress him. That's right. The first prince has only been cultivating for a few hundred years. Voices rang out one after another. The foreign races seemed to have great confidence in the first prince. The first prince? What a strange name. Lu Ming's heart stirred. However, for him to be respected by so many foreign races after cultivating for a few hundred years, his talent was indeed shocking. Lu Ming, the first prince of our tribe, is on the holy mountain, but he's in seclusion. I'm afraid hell needs some time. Do you dare to wait here? Someone shouted. Why wouldn't I? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Chapter 24-22, Physical Body Breakthrough. Alright, just you wait. I'll tell you, the first prince of my tribe is the first on the longevity roll. Someone said. Then, someone flew toward the sacred mountain, apparently to invite the first prince. As for Lu Ming, he flew to the side and sat cross-legged on a huge rock. I'm afraid that the first prince's combat strength is astonishing. He's definitely above Kong Duo. With my current strength, I'm afraid it's difficult to defeat him. However, my physical body is about to break through. I might as well take this opportunity to break through. Lu Ming made up his mind and took out a pile of Emperor's medicine. He began to practice the Seven Gods' mysterious technique to absorb the medicinal power of the Emperor's medicine and attempt to break through to the 5th level of the Seven Gods' mysterious technique. Lu Ming's physical body had been tempered by the smelting furnace previously and had almost broken through the bottleneck. He could break through at any time. At this moment, Lu Ming was cultivating. His physical body seemed to be very hungry and thirsty, frantically absorbing the external energy. Hoo. Lu Ming's physical body seemed to have turned into a black hole, devouring the energy from the outside world. No, it's better to cultivate in the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming thought to himself. Lu Ming felt very uncomfortable being stared at by so many people. With a thought, the mountain and river diagram emerged. Lu Ming turned into a ray of light and entered the mountain and river diagram. A treasure from the heavenly realm. Many of the alien races murmured. They didn't seem to mind. The mountain and river diagram was there. Lu Ming could not escape at all. Especially those at the Great Emperor realm, they could completely break through the attack of the Grotto Heaven treasure and attack the people inside. Many alien races were waiting there. The first prince was in seclusion. Even if someone invited him, it was unknown how long it would take for him to come out. After Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram, he could no longer hold back. He took out a large number of Emperor's medicine, sacred medicine, and supreme-grade rough stones. Hoo. As long as Lu Ming circulated the seven gods' mysterious technique, his body would turn into a black hole and devour energy crazily. The energy of the Emperor's medicine, the sacred medicine, and the supreme-grade rough stone were all absorbed by Lu Ming's body. As soon as the energy entered Lu Ming's body, it seeped into every cell in his body to help him improve his physical strength. As the days passed, Lu Ming's physical body became stronger and stronger. Boom! Half a month later, Lu Ming's physical strength had reached its peak. Then, with a loud bang, the aura that he emitted increased dramatically. At the same time, his bones and muscles were shaking crazily as he was transforming. His skin glowed with a layer of treasure light like the light of a divine weapon. After a while, his muscles and bones stopped shaking and calmed down. At this time, Lu Ming had completely broken through and cultivated the seven gods' mysterious technique to the late stage of the 5th level. Lu Ming's strength increased explosively. He felt that he had an inexhaustible amount of strength in his body. At the same time, the strength of his muscles, defense, and vitality had also increased to an unbelievable level. Lu Ming had a feeling that he could be unrivaled among great emperors with his physical strength. Good. Let the first prince of the outsiders come. Lu Ming laughed heartily. He extended his spiritual senses through the mountain and river diagram to observe the situation outside. He realized that the first prince had not arrived. Lu Ming did not mind. He continued to circulate the seven gods' mysterious technique to consolidate his realm, slowly moving towards the limit of the 5th stage late phase. Now that he had reached the late stage of the 5th level of the seven gods' mysterious skill, his next step would be to break through to the 6th level. Once he reached the 6th level of the seven gods' mysterious technique, his physical strength alone would be comparable to a celestial emperor. That would be truly terrifying. However, without a great opportunity, it would be extremely difficult to break through. The Archean body cultivator lineage had been passed down for a long time. However, there were only a handful of people who had reached the Heavenly Emperor realm. It was clear how difficult it was to cultivate the seven divine mysterious technique to the 6th level. Lu Ming cultivated quietly. In the blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. At this moment, there was finally some movement outside. A figure silently appeared in the sky, overlooking the mountains and rivers. All the alien races fell silent. It was a young alien, similar to a human. He was obviously a member of the royal family. However, they were different from the other royal families. He was extremely handsome, and his hair was golden. Under the sunlight, it glowed. His 3 eyes were also golden in color. When he opened them, they were filled with supreme majesty. The first prince. The number 1 royal tribe of the evil god tribe was known as the strongest prodigy of the evil god tribe since ancient times. He had cultivated for less than 300 years and had already reached the peak of the emperor level. He was said to have the bloodline closest to the divine ancestor of the non-human race, and his battle power was even more astonishing. Experts of the same level couldn't even withstand a single blow from him. I'm here to join the first prince. Countless alien races saluted Prince De, even some of the heavenly emperors. Their eyes were full of respect. The first prince was destined to be invincible in the future. Where is he? The first prince spoke. It's in that estate world treasure. Someone pointed at the mountain and river diagram. The first prince's golden eyes looked at the mountain and river diagram. Boom! The first prince stomped his foot down. A huge foot formed and pressed down on the mountain and river diagram. He actually attacked directly, and it was abnormally overbearing. Buzz! The mountain and river diagram turned into a stream of light and flew out, avoiding the attack. Then, there was a flash of light and Lu Ming's figure appeared. He kept the mountain and river diagram. "Make your move, I don't have that much time to waste." The first prince placed his hands behind his back and cast an indifferent glance at Lu Ming. He was cold, overbearing, and filled with endless confidence. This was the first prince. He was high and mighty, like a god, looking down on the common people as if nothing could enter his eyes. "Since you don't have time, then please go back. I don't have that much time to waste with you." Lu Ming also spoke coldly. The other party's attitude made him unhappy. "Ignorant," the first prince said indifferently. Lu Ming's words did not make him angry, because Lu Ming was not qualified to make him angry. In his opinion, Lu Ming was just an ignorant ant. Boom! At this moment, a powerful aura emanated from the first prince. It was indeed the aura of a peak emperor, but it gave off a terrifying pressure, as if one was facing a heavenly emperor. Buzz! The first prince took a step forward. His body turned into a golden stream of light as he rushed toward Lu Ming and threw a punch. He still had one hand behind his back, as if to say that he only needed one hand to deal with Lu Ming. Buzz! Lu Ming's muscles trembled and he threw a punch as well. Lu Ming did not use world force or laws for this punch. It was purely physical strength. Boom! The two fists collided with a heavy boom. Then, a figure retreated 100 miles. It was Lu Ming. Lu Ming, the first prince, was the one who retreated. He did not move. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. In the exchange of punches just now, Lu Ming was actually completely at a disadvantage. Chapter 2423 Fighting the First Prince. One had to know that he could completely suppress a peak great emperor with his physical strength, but he was no match for that punch. He could feel that the first prince's body was terrifyingly strong, far stronger than other peak emperors. Of course, the most shocking thing was the energy he cultivated. It was like the energy of the ancient cultivation system, indestructible. There are very few people below the celestial the arch level who can take my punch without being injured. Your strength is not bad, no wonder you could defeat Kong Duo. The first prince spoke, but his voice was still indifferent, high and mighty, and filled with endless confidence. However, some of the heavenly emperor powerhouses around them were shocked. They were not shocked by the first prince's combat strength, but by Lu Ming. This was because Lu Ming did not cast any laws just now. Instead, he used his physical body. He had blocked the first prince's attack with his physical body alone. It was too shocking. They had seen Lu Ming's moves before. His physical strength was not that strong before this. Could it be that he had hidden his strength before, or that he had a breakthrough this month? Many of the alien races had the same thought. First Prince, be careful. A non-human heavenly emperor warned. You're underestimating me. The first prince looked at this person, his golden eyes emitting a cold light. The heavenly emperor's expression changed, and he quickly said, "No, I wouldn't dare to underestimate the prince, it's fine as long as you don't. I can easily suppress a human brat." The first prince said indifferently. He looked at Lu Ming and took a step forward, charging at him again. He still had one hand behind his back and was only using one hand. The power of this punch was stronger than before. Come on. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. There were more than a dozen different kinds of radiances emanating from his body. Boom! With the law's blessing, Lu Ming's combat strength was even stronger. He threw another punch. There was another violent explosion. This time, Lu Ming did not retreat. He successfully blocked the first prince's attack. The first prince was taken aback. He was clearly surprised that Lu Ming did not retreat after being punched. Whoosh! However, the first prince was only stunned for a moment. He did not stop. He turned his fist into a palm and slashed at Lu Ming with his palm like a knife. Lu Ming's reaction was very fast. He waved his palm to block. Bang! Bang! The two of them were as fast as lightning. In an instant, they had exchanged dozens of moves and then retreated. This is your strength? It's not much. Lu Ming chuckled. The first prince's golden eyes turned cold. Lu Ming's ability had indeed exceeded his expectations. In the past, unless one's cultivation base was higher than his, he would usually single-handedly take care of a battle between two people of the same level. Even Kong Duo, who was ranked second on the longevity roll, couldn't force him to use a second hand. However, he could not deal with Lu Ming now. You do have some strength, but in front of me, you're still far from it. The first prince said coldly. He finally extended his other hand. Buzz! The first prince dashed toward Lu Ming like a beam of light, unleashing a terrifying attack. Good! Lu Ming let out a long howl and various laws emanated from his body. Bang! 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 The two of them once again charged at each other, engaging in an intense battle. The battle this time was more intense and terrifying than the battle between Lu Ming and Kong Duo. How is this Lu Ming so powerful? How is this possible? Could it be that he didn't use his full strength in the previous battle with Condor? Many alien races were shocked. Lu Ming's abilities seemed to be limitless. If they were stronger, Lu Ming's abilities would be stronger too. There was no end to it. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Prince De had exchanged hundreds of moves. Exterminate, kill. The first prince let out a long howl. His third eye burst out with golden light, which was like a divine sword that slashed toward Lu Ming. When the two worked together, the offensive was even stronger. However, the number of laws on Lu Ming's body increased. At this moment, Lu Ming had already released 49 laws. Boom! The two of them exchanged another blow and both retreated. If that's all you've got, then lose. Lu Ming said coldly. The number of laws on his body increased, and his aura grew stronger. In the end, 81 types of laws covered his body, and Lu Ming's aura rose to its peak. This made all the foreign kind's faces turn extremely ugly. Could it be that the first prince was going to be defeated? No, it can't be. Many alien races shook their heads crazily. You're the first person in hundreds of years to force me to this extent. I'll let you have a taste of my ultimate strength. Supreme. Descend. The first prince let out a long howl. His third eye burst out with an extremely dazzling radiance. The golden radiance was even more dazzling than the sun. Then, a figure appeared in the third eye of the first prince. The figure stepped out of the third eye. It was a burly figure, but he was shrouded in a golden light. His appearance could not be seen clearly, but the aura he gave off was extremely terrifying. Divine Ancestor. The aura of the Holy Ancestor, the Sacred Ancestor has descended. No, it's the power of the Sacred Ancestor. The first prince's bloodline is the closest to the Holy Ancestors. He can already borrow a trace of the Holy Ancestor's power. Many of the alien races started to shout. Kill! The first prince bellowed. The figure stepped out and charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned serious. He could sense danger and pressure from this figure. But he was not afraid. This was only the first prince's power. It couldn't be the non-human divine ancestor himself. Boom! Lu Ming used all his strength and charged forward, engaging in an intense battle with the figure. Boom! 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 The two of them fought intensely. In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed, and they were evenly matched. Fuse with my body. The first prince once again yelled out, and the figure retreated, turning into a ray of light that fused into the first prince's body, causing the first prince's aura to greatly increase. Kill. The first prince charged toward Lu Ming. The two of them engaged in a fierce battle again. The void crumbled, and the space within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles was in chaos, sweeping up endless spatial storms. The power of the battle between the two was too strong. It could destroy the world. Terrifying, this is too terrifying. Is this still the great emperor? A great emperor can actually have such battle prowess. Heavens, this is a battle between the heavenly emperors. The two of them fought to the extreme, and the power they unleashed far exceeded that of ordinary peak great emperors. Other peak emperors would probably be killed in one move. The power that the two of them displayed had far exceeded the level of great emperors. It was a battle of the peak, a true battle of the peak. Bang! 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 Towards the end of the battle, the two of them fought madly, clashing madly and getting hit continuously. The two of them were hit, but they didn't care and continued to fight. Lu Ming had the indestructible ancient scroll. Although he was hit, he could recover quickly. The first prince was also very terrifying. In such a state, his recovery ability was also astonishing. Chapter 2424 Eternal Cage I. This battle lasted for more than 1,000 moves. At this stage, what was being competed was not battle prowess, but endurance. In the end, Lu Ming had the indestructible ancient scroll and an unparalleled physical body. He slowly gained the upper hand and began to suppress the first prince. At this moment, the two of them were covered in blood because they had been hit too many times. Pfft! Lu Ming landed another punch on the first prince's shoulder. Half of his body almost exploded. At the same time, Lu Ming was also hit. He was also severely injured, but his recovery speed was faster than his opponent. Kill. Lu Ming did not give the other party a chance to recover. He charged forward with his injuries. The more they fought, the more serious the first prince's injuries became. He was less and less of a match for Lu Ming. In the end, he was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Gotcha. The first prince's chest was hit, and his bones were broken. His body was sent flying far away, and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. His aura was extremely weak. Lu Ming was about to suppress the other party in one go. However, at this moment, a shadow flashed and a figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. The figure wore a crown on his head and exuded an earth-shattering aura. Under this aura, Lu Ming could not move at all. He could not even move a finger. The king of the outsiders. This was a non-human king and he was terrifyingly powerful. The difference between Lu Ming and him was too great. Enough. The non-human king said coldly with a dark expression. We pay our respects to the king. Many people saluted. The evil god tribe had 10 royal tribes, and the king of each royal tribe had a supreme status and was respected by most of the other races. Today's battle ends here. Everyone, step down. The non-human king instructed. Yes. Many alien races bowed and flew toward the holy mountain. However, they were all shocked, especially Mo Tianluo, Storm, and the others. They were all dazed. They understood that even if the king of the non-human race appeared, it would not change the fact that the first prince had been defeated. This so-called most powerful prodigy in the history of the evil god tribe had also been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had single-handedly defeated the entire longevity role. This was something they had never expected. The first prince stood in the distance, his golden eyes flashing with an extremely cold light. Kill, die. The first prince shouted coldly. He turned into a stream of light and charged toward Lu Ming. He had always been invincible. Now that he had been defeated, he had a strong desire to kill Lu Ming. However, he was blocked by a force on the way. It was the power of the king of the non-human race. You can't kill him. The non-human king spoke. This person is a human. I must kill him or else he'll be in endless trouble. The first prince shouted. Whether to kill or not, we know what to do. Back down. The alien king berated. The first prince's expression changed. Although he was known as the strongest heaven's favorite in the history of the evil god world and had a very high status, he still did not dare to act presumptuously in front of the king of the alien race. The 10 kings of the evil god tribe were the 10 people with the highest status in the evil god world, excluding the sacred ancestor. You may withdraw. Another voice rang in the first prince's ears. Hearing this voice, the first prince's expression changed again. This was because this voice belonged to his father. The first prince cast a cold glance at Lu Ming with his golden eyes. He turned into a beam of light and flew toward the holy mountain. Only Lu Ming, Jia, and a few others were left at the scene. Lu Ming did not beat around the bush. He was in the evil god realm and had no choice. He was prepared to deal with the other party however they wanted to. However, don't even think about making him yield. In the depths of the firmament, a few non-human kings were discussing matters. What should we do now? A non-human king asked. All of this was completely out of their expectations and out of their control. Their plan was to let Lu Ming see the power of the evil god realm, to make him despair and to make him yield. However, they had never expected that Lu Ming's talent and combat strength would be so high. He actually broke through the longevity roll. In that case, they would be the ones to suffer a blow. It would be the evil god tribe and not Lu Ming. No one below the heavenly emperor could defeat Lu Ming. How could they make Lu Ming yield? Their plan had failed. I didn't expect this kid to be so talented. No wonder the sacred ancestor Bloodheart chose him. Once the sacred ancestor Bloodheart revives in him, he'll definitely be able to recover to his peak. Not bad. Unfortunately, the prison guarding steel is in the way. The faces of the kings of the other races were ugly. For a moment, they could not think of a solution at all. They could not take away the prison-suppressing steel and Lu Ming refused to yield. They had no other choice. Could it be that we're going to invite the divine ancestor? A non-human king spoke, but the other non-human kings were silent. No, the holy ancestor has been in secluded meditation ever since the battle to recover from his injuries. Unless it's an urgent matter, we can't disturb him, that's right. I suggest that we wait for a while and spend more time studying it. I don't believe that we can't find a way to get rid of the prison-suppressing steel. The other non-human kings chimed in. Hundreds of years, thousands of years, or even tens of thousands of years, in their eyes, was just the snap of a finger. At most, they would spend another tens of thousands of years or even hundreds of thousands of years to research it. They did not believe that they could not find a way. I suggest that we lock Lu Ming up in the eternal cage. This kid has not even been born for 200 years. If we lock him up in the eternal cage, he might yield after a few thousand or 10,000 years. Not bad. The kings all nodded and reached a consensus. I'll bring him there. A non-human king finished speaking and disappeared in a flash. Lu Ming suddenly felt an extremely powerful force enveloping him. His vision turned black and he could not see anything. Let's see what you guys are up to. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He sat cross-legged and waited quietly. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming was swept away by a wave of energy and left the darkness. Light appeared in front of him. Where is this place? Lu Ming sized it up. He found himself in a stone room, and the door was closed. It seems like I've been locked back in the secret chamber again. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Since he was already here, he might as well take things as they were. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and began to regulate his breathing. In the previous battle, he had suffered some injuries. Although he had the indestructible ancient scroll, he had not fully recovered. After a period of healing, Lu Ming had returned to his peak state. In the following days, Lu Ming spent his time comprehending the laws and tempering his body. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Kacha. On this day, the door of the stone room opened, and a foreign man in red armor walked in. Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat when he saw the alien. This alien was a powerhouse at the Heavenly Emperor realm. Follow me. The red-armored being said coldly before turning around and leaving. Lu Ming pondered for a while and followed. Chapter 2425 Prison Suppression Realm. Lu Ming walked out of the stone room and followed the blood-red armored alien. There are so many stone rooms? Lu Ming was stunned. Outside the stone room, there was a stone passage. On both sides of the passage, there were stone doors. It was obvious that these were all stone rooms. This place was completely different from the place where Lu Ming had been imprisoned for 100 years. This place was definitely not the capital. At this time, the doors of the stone rooms opened, and figures walked out from inside. Human. Lu Ming was shocked. The ones who walked out of those stone rooms were actually humans. A person walked out of each stone room. Could these humans have been captured from the heaven realm? Not long after, Lu Ming saw a few more divine beasts, but all of them had taken on human form. In addition, Lu Ming also discovered a unique point. Some people, like him, were not wearing anything. It was the same as when they were outside. However, some of them were wearing silver chain armors that even covered their arms and legs. What is this place? A place to imprison prisoners from the heaven realm? Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The others also looked at Lu Ming with curious expressions. However, no one said anything because there were many alien races in blood-red armor. All of them were at the Heavenly Emperor realm. Lu Ming saw that there were no less than 10 of them. He followed the passage and soon reached the end. At the end of the passage was a huge cave. There was a hole above the cave, from which a beam of light shot down. Lu Ming guessed that this might be the interior of a mountain. There were passages all around the cave, and people were gathering from each passage. Most of them were humans and divine beasts. Lu Ming even saw alien races wearing silver chain armors, looking like prisoners. Around the cave stood many beings in fiery red armor. Of course, not all of them were heavenly emperors. Most of them were great emperors. However, there were many of them, more than 200 of them. The power of the foreign races gathered in this place was shockingly strong. Is this a cage for the alien race? Lu Ming speculated in his heart. Little brother, you're new here. I've never seen you before. At this moment, a burly man with messy hair walked over and greeted Lu Ming. That's right, I've only been here for a few months. Lu Ming said as he sized up the other party. The other party looked to be in his 50s. His hair and beard were in a mess, but one could barely tell that he was very handsome. His eyes flashed with a sense of majesty. He was also wearing a chain armor. You should be from the heaven realm, and it should be less than 1,000 years since you came from the heaven realm. You still have the smell of the heaven realm on you, a familiar yet strange smell. The burly man sighed and revealed a nostalgic expression. Big brother also came from the heaven realm? Lu Ming asked. That's right. However, that was many, many years ago. I don't even know how many years ago it was. I heard that it should be the ancient era. The burly man sighed. Ancient times. Lu Ming was shocked. Could it be that he was captured by the alien race during the ancient war and imprisoned here? It was hard to imagine how many years it had been since the ancient era. Are the humans and divine beasts here all seniors of the heaven realm? Lu Ming asked again. No, only a small portion of them came from the heaven realm. The burly man shook his head. A small portion? Lu Ming was shocked. Huh, you can't be thinking that only the heaven realm and the primordial realm have humans, right? In fact, the evil god realm also has humans. The burly man laughed. There are humans in the evil god tribe? This time, Lu Ming was even more shocked. He had never heard that there were humans in the evil god world. Weren't the evil god world all alien races? The 10 royal alien races occupied the entire evil god world. Huh, I'm a human from this side. Qingcang, is this little brother from the heaven realm? At this moment, a burly man with fiery red hair walked over. He looked to be in his 50s and was also wearing a chain-like armor. The big man with messy hair was called Qingcang. Not bad. Qingcang nodded and introduced, his name is Wu Tai. He's a human from the evil god world. Little brother, what's your name? My name is Lu Ming. Lu Ming introduced himself and then started chatting with Qingcang and Madame Wu. The two of them were very forthright. Lu Ming learned a lot about this place during the conversation. This place was called the Eternal Cage. It was a place where the alien races locked up felons. It meant that once someone was locked in, it would be difficult to get out for 10,000 years. These people had been detained and given drugs on the spot. That's right, medicine. Every once in a while, the alien races would send people to extract their blood and use it to make pills for the alien races to consume and improve their cultivation. Moreover, Lu Ming learned that there were humans in the evil god realm. There were still some who stayed in a place called the prison realm to resist the alien races. And the power of the prison suppression field was very strong. The prison suppression field? The name is so similar to the prison suppressing steel. Lu Ming's heart stirred and he thought of many things. Maybe the alien races were distracted by the prison suppression field, so they couldn't attack the heaven realm with all their might. Why is there another outsider locked up here? Lu Ming asked again. Because some alien tribes are also against attacking the heaven realm. You see, those dozen alien tribes over there are all very powerful existences. However, they opposed the attack on the heaven realm in ancient times, so they were also imprisoned here. Qingcang said, pointing to the left. Lu Ming looked over and saw more than 10 alien races. They were all royal members of the alien race and they were wearing silver chain armors. I see. Lu Ming came to a sudden realization. It seemed that not all the alien races were in favor of attacking the heaven realm. Some were against it. In fact, Lu Ming had been wondering why the alien races had to attack and destroy the heaven. Wouldn't it be better for everyone to live in peace? Big brother Qingcang, you've been imprisoned here since ancient times. Has no one ever escaped from here after so many years? Lu Ming asked again. No, I didn't. Qingcang shook his head and sighed. The entire eternal cage is enveloped by a treasure and has a terrifying restriction. It said that the treasure belongs to the evil god tribe's saint ancestor. Once it's set up, the restriction can't be broken. Moreover, the restriction has a terrifying killing power. As long as one is within the restriction, once there is any abnormal movement, the restriction will be activated and even a peak heavenly emperor will be killed. Lu Ming was shocked. A peak heavenly emperor was about to be killed. That was too terrifying. A peak heavenly emperor was the most powerful person in the world. Lu Ming could not imagine how powerful he was. Lu Ming, brother Qingcang is a peak heavenly emperor. Mrs. Wu said. What? Peak heavenly emperor. Lu Ming's heart trembled and he was dumbfounded. He had never expected Qing Tsang to be a peak heavenly emperor. Chapter 24-26, The Nine-Headed Golden Lion. One of the top 10 battle beasts. Qing Tsang was a peak heavenly emperor. A peak heavenly emperor, no matter in the evil god realm or the heaven realm, was a peak existence. His battle power was beyond imagination. There were not many people like him in the evil god realm or the heaven realm. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, the top 10 war beasts were at the peak of the heavenly emperor realm at their peak. However, the ordinary-looking man in front of him was actually a peak heavenly emperor. Qing Tsang used to be a well-known figure in the heaven realm. Haven't you heard of him, brother Lu Ming? Mrs. Wu looked at Lu Ming curiously. No, I didn't. Lu Ming shook his head. Ha ha ha, Mrs. Wu, when was I in heaven realm? So many years have passed, who still remembers my name? Qing Tsang laughed and didn't take it seriously. The nine-headed golden lion's name has shaken the world. Back then, even the evil god world had heard of it. Mrs. Wu said with a grin. What? The nine-headed golden lion? Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. Of course, he knew about the nine-headed golden lion. One of the top 10 battle beasts, the nine-headed golden lion, who didn't know about it? However, it was said that the nine-headed golden lion had already died in the ancient war. Qing Tsang was actually one of the top 10 war beasts, the nine-headed golden lion. So he didn't die. You've heard of it? Mrs. Wu said. Of course, who hasn't heard of the nine-headed golden lion, one of the top 10 battle beasts? Lu Ming said. Everything is just a false reputation. You've still become a prisoner. Qing Tsang laughed at himself. Big brother Qing Tsang, big brother Wu Tai, why are you wearing this chain armor but I'm not? Lu Ming asked curiously. This kind of armor can seal one's cultivation base. It's covered with formations that can seal one's cultivation base through one's acupuncture points. All those above the celestial the arch realm wear this kind of armor. As for those below the celestial the arch realm, their cultivation base isn't high. Even if they don't wear the armor, the evil god tribe can easily suppress them. Therefore, they don't wear it. Mrs. Wu explained. Lu Ming came to a realization. No wonder some people were wearing armor while some were not. So this was the reason. This place was surrounded by restrictions with terrifying defensive and killing power. Even a heavenly emperor couldn't get out, let alone those under the heavenly emperor realm. Moreover, there were so many experts of the foreign kinds guarding this place. Those below the heavenly emperor realm couldn't cause any trouble. They're here. Qing Tsang suddenly said as he looked in one direction. Lu Ming and Wu Tai also looked in the same direction. A bald, middle-aged man walked over with a group of people in fiery red armor. The bald middle-aged man looked no different from a human, but the third eye on his forehead told everyone that he was a foreign race. His body exuded an extremely terrifying aura. It was as if he was the universe, high and mighty. His pressure was like the 10 lands and the 8 wastelands of the universe. How terrifying! Lu Ming sensed it and felt cold sweat all over his body. His heart was beating faster. This man is called Duo Lei, the commander of the Eternal Cage. He is also a peak heavenly emperor. Mrs. Wu said in a low voice. Peak heavenly emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. No wonder he gave off such a terrifying feeling. With a peak heavenly emperor guarding this place, even if he didn't set up a restriction, not many people would be able to escape. Duo Lei practices a strange combat technique that requires him to absorb powerful battle qi. So, he will gather everyone together once in a while and then choose someone to compete with. He will then be able to absorb the battle qi of others during their battles. Mrs. Wu continued to explain. Lu Ming nodded. He finally understood why these people had gathered here. Duo Lei came to the center of the cave and waved his hand. A fighting stage appeared and landed in the middle of the cave. According to the old rules, whoever I point out will go up and fight. Whoever doesn't try their best and is perfunctory, I will draw all his blood after the battle. Duo Lei said coldly. His eyes were like lightning as they scanned the surroundings. The faces of those who were scanned by him all changed and became somewhat grave. Duo Lei was vicious and merciless, and he would definitely do as he said. Many of them had been imprisoned here for countless years, so they were naturally aware of this. Lu Ji, Wang Mang, you guys go up. Duo Lei called out names. Then, Lu Ming saw two figures walking up to the fighting ring. Both of them were wearing silver chain armors. It was obvious that they were both at the Heavenly Emperor realm. After the two of them stepped onto the fighting ring, Duo Lei waved his hand, and their armors flew away and landed in Duo Lei's hands. Boom! Boom! As soon as the armor flew away, Lu Ji and Wang Mang's bodies exploded with astonishing auras. This is 3-star Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Two of them were 3-star Heavenly Emperors. The number of experts imprisoned in this eternal cage was shocking. Lu Ji and Wang Mang looked at each other, and then they suddenly rushed toward each other. Boom! Boom! The two of them began to fight intensely in the fighting ring. The two of them had similar cultivation levels, and they used their full strength without holding back. The battle was extremely intense. It's not a law system. As soon as the two of them started fighting, Lu Ming realized that they were not cultivating the nomological system at all. Instead, they were cultivating the immemorial martial Tao, which was similar to the immemorial system. They're from the prison suppression field. They're cultivating, so it should be different from the heaven realm, right? Mrs. Wu said. Yes, I am. Lu Ming nodded. The nomological system had risen at the end of the primordial era, and the prison suppression field should have always been in the evil god field. It was normal that they cultivated differently. The two of them exchanged several hundred moves, and in the end, Lu Ji won by a slight margin, defeating Wang Mang. Duo Lei was watching from the side, his eyes sparkling with excitement. A layer of light flickered on his body, constantly changing. After Lu Ji and Wang Mang's battle, Duo Lei called another two Heavenly Emperor powerhouses to battle. The cultivation of each group was similar, so the battle was extremely intense and full of fighting spirit. This was very beneficial to Duo Lei. Just like that, they fought a few groups in a row. There were Heavenly Emperors and Heavenly Emperors. Lu Ming realized that none of them cultivated the nomological system. Qing Tsang told him that not many people in the heaven realm had been captured. Most of the humans here were from the prison suppression field. Recently, we have a newcomer here. He is a peerless heaven's favorite from the heaven realm. Suddenly, Duo Lei spoke and looked at Lu Ming. The others could not help but look at Lu Ming. There was no one as young as Lu Ming here. I heard that you're very strong. Go up and fight. Duo Lei said. Lu Ming's eyes flickered, but he did not say anything. He stepped forward and landed on the fighting ring. You, go up and fight him. Duo Lei pointed at an old man. The old man leaped onto the fighting ring, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. He was a peak great emperor. Little brother, you have to be careful. This old man's cultivation is peak emperor. The old man said kindly. He felt that Lu Ming was really young. He was so young. No matter how strong he was, how strong could he be? Hence, he kindly reminded her. Chapter 2427 Battling the Heaven Arch. Many thanks, Senior. Senior, please. Lu Ming smiled. Be careful. The old man spoke and suddenly rushed toward Lu Ming. His palm was like a knife as he struck out. Buzz. The old man's palm trembled, and a strange power circulated. It was really like a battle blade. The old man also cultivated the ancient martial arts, and his attack power was astonishing. Since he had made his move, he would not hold back, because Duo Lei would not allow anyone to hold back. Lu Ming took a deep breath and threw a punch. This punch was very ordinary, but when it was thrown out, the space on the fighting stage exploded and the wind howled. The power was extremely shocking. However, there was a light screen around the fighting ring that blocked the reckless chi. The old man's eyes widened. The power of Lu Ming's punch was so shocking that he was shocked. Buzz! The old man's moves changed. With a shake of his arm, he suddenly slashed dozens of times. Dozens of saber beams were shot out, aiming at Lu Ming's fist. However, as Lu Ming's fist passed by, the elder's saber light exploded inch by inch. The terrifying fist force crushed over and collided with the elder's palm. The old man's body trembled as if he had been electrocuted. Then, he backed off madly until he was out of the fighting ring and hit the light screen at the edge of the fighting ring. His face turned pale. So strong. At the scene, many people were shocked and could not help but re-examine Lu Ming. Previously, they thought that even if Lu Ming was a genius, he would not be too powerful. It was already very shocking that he had the fighting power of a great emperor. However, Lu Ming's attack shocked them. He had defeated a peak great emperor with one punch. This little brother Lu Ming is not bad. He looks really young. He has cultivated for less than 1,000 years at most, but he has such combat strength. It's really amazing. Mrs. Wu sighed. Qing Gang's eyes were also filled with surprise. He's probably a body cultivator. He's already reached the peak of the Tao Emperor realm and is a rare prodigy. What a pity that he's been locked up in the eternal cage. Qing Tsang sighed. Mrs. Wu was the same. With such strength at such a young age, if he had enough time, he would definitely become a terrifying master. Unfortunately, he had been captured by the alien race and brought here, which was equivalent to losing hope. Little brother's battle strength is amazing. This old man is no match for you. I'm impressed. On the fighting ring, the old man cupped his fists and said, his eyes full of admiration. Senior is too polite. Lu Ming said politely. Duo Lei, I'm really no match for you. You can go down now. The old man looked at Duo Lei. Trash, get lost. Duo Lei waved his hand, and the old man walked down the fighting ring. You are indeed powerful. Ao Jing, you go. Duo Lei said to a middle-aged man in silver chain armor. Me? The man was stunned. He was at the Heavenly Emperor realm, and Duo Lei was asking him to fight with a great emperor? Duo Lei, you're going too far. Lu Ming is only a great emperor. It's meaningless for you to ask him to fight Ao Jing. Qing Tsang cried out. When has it ever been your turn to interrupt me? Qing Tsang, remember who you are now. You're just a prisoner, so don't think of yourself as one of the top 10 war beasts. Duo Lei coldly glanced at Qing Tsang, then turned to Ao Jing and said, let's go up and fight, and well use our full strength. Ao Jing had no choice but to step onto the fighting stage. Duo Lei waved his hand and Ao Jing's armor flew away. Roar! A dragon's roar was heard, and Ao Jing emitted a powerful aura. Ao Jing was a true dragon, and he was a one-star heavenly emperor. Little brother, be careful. Ao Jing reminded. Senior, just use your full strength. Lu Ming said, a strong fighting spirit in his eyes. This was the first time he was going to fight a heavenly emperor. A heavenly emperor was much stronger than a great emperor. No great emperor had ever been able to fight a heavenly emperor. Even the first prince of the non-human race, who was known as the strongest heaven's favorite of the non-human race, wouldn't be a match for the weakest one-star heavenly emperor. Lu Ming was looking forward to how far he could go against a one-star heavenly emperor if he were to go all out. Moreover, although he had mastered 81 types of nomological laws, his use of them was not perfect. At the very least, he was unable to interweave all the laws together to form a sacred art. It couldn't be as smooth as one. All of this was very difficult to comprehend on one's own, but in an intense battle, one would often reap great benefits. Therefore, Lu Ming was looking forward to it and his fighting spirit was very strong. Buzz! Whoosh! Lu Ming's body glowed. It was the light of the law. That is, the laws. Below the fighting ring, Qing Tsang was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming had actually cultivated laws. Wait, so many? No, several ultimate maxims. What's going on? My God, it's still increasing. Qing Gang's eyes immediately widened. This was because the laws on Lu Ming's body were constantly flashing. 12, 20, 50. And the number of ultimate maxims kept increasing. Qing Gang's eyes grew wider and wider, and in the end, he became completely dumbfounded. Qing Tsang did not cultivate the system of laws, but the primordial demonic Tao. However, in the ancient era, the system of laws dominated the heaven realm and was extremely prosperous. He naturally understood it very well. At that moment, he was dumbfounded when he saw the law on Lu Ming. He was not the only one. Everyone around the battle stage who had some understanding of the nomological system was also dumbfounded. In an instant, Lu Ming's 81 types of laws emerged and formed a battle suit that covered his entire body. Lu Ming unleashed his abilities to the maximum. Senior, please. Lu Ming extended his hand and reminded Ao Jing. Little brother, you're amazing. Ao Jing's eyes were filled with shock, and his aura was raised to the maximum. Boom! Boom! The two of them moved at the same time, pouncing towards each other and launching a terrifying attack. With a violent boom, the two of them clashed head-on, and then both of them retreated. The difference was that Ao Jing only took 3 steps back, while Lu Ming took 15 steps back. What shocking strength! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. What Ao Jing cultivated was not the system of laws, but the primordial demonic Tao. The primordial demonic Tao cultivated the body and demonic power. The combination of the demonic body and demonic power was extremely powerful. In the previous exchange of blows, Ao Jing's strength was completely above Lu Ming's. He didn't know that the others were even more shocked. He blocked it. A great emperor is actually fighting against the celestial emperor. Unbelievable. Ao Jing didn't show any mercy. It is indeed incredible. He is a peerless monster. Unfortunately, he's been locked up in the eternal cage. Many people sighed and felt sorry for Lu Ming. Again. Lu Ming shouted. At this moment, his fighting spirit was getting stronger. Boom! Then, he rushed toward Ao Jing and increased his power to the maximum. Ao Jing was not to be outdone. He charged at Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! The two of them engaged in an intense battle, and the battle turned white-hot. Chapter 24-28, Law System. Breaking through to Great Emperor in an instant, Lu Ming and Ao Jing had exchanged dozens of moves. Satisfying, satisfying. The more Lu Ming fought, the more excited he became. His fighting spirit soared. He was at a disadvantage, suppressed by Ao Jing, but it would not be easy for Ao Jing to defeat him. Lu Ming could unleash all his power when he fought with the Celestial Arch. Moreover, the other party could constantly exert great pressure on him, allowing him to master the laws more proficiently and have a deeper understanding. Boom! Boom! In the great battle, Lu Ming evolved all kinds of laws to the extreme and blasted out all kinds of divine powers. Good, good, good. Below the fighting stage, Duo Lei said, good, 3 times. He was cultivating a combat technique that required the absorption of battle qi. He realized that Lu Ming's fighting spirit was extremely strong when he was fighting with others. It allowed him to absorb more battle qi. He was already planning to let Lu Ming play more in the future. What shocking battle strength! The others were also shocked by Lu Ming's ability. Lu Ming's abilities were already close to the Heavenly Emperor realm. A great emperor would not be able to withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. This battle lasted for hundreds of moves. After such a long battle, Lu Ming was finally defeated. He was sent flying by Ao Jing and hit the light curtain, spitting blood. He had lost, but his eyes were filled with excitement. The battle just now had deepened his understanding of the various laws. Senior is formidable, junior is no match. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, "You're the one who's powerful. If I didn't have a high cultivation level, how could I be your opponent?" Ao Jing exclaimed. Indeed, if he were to fight Lu Ming at the same level, he would not be able to withstand even one move from Lu Ming. Then, the two of them left the fighting ring. Duo Lei then called the others to fight. One day later, Duo Lei seemed to be satisfied. He dismissed everyone and let them return to their secret chambers. Don't draw Lu Ming's blood. It's useful to me. After the crowd dispersed, Duo Lei ordered his subordinates. After drawing blood, the person would definitely be weak and would not be able to fight for a period of time. He wanted to keep Lu Ming alive to fight with others so that he could absorb battle qi. The others had been locked up here for too long and were already numb to it. Even if they went all out in battle, they could not activate too much battle qi. However, when Lu Ming was fighting, his fighting spirit was high and the battle qi he triggered was extremely strong, which made him happy. Yes. The other alien races obeyed. After Lu Ming returned to the stone room, he continued to cultivate. He recalled the battle in detail and gradually deepened his use of the law. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. A few months later, Duo Lei gathered them again and asked them to fight. This time, Duo Lei called Lu Ming to fight another one-star heavenly emperor. In this battle, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage. However, after exchanging a few hundred moves, Lu Ming was finally defeated. Just like that, Lu Ming had to fight once every few months. He had gained a lot. He was getting more and more comfortable with the use of various laws. The divine arts he comprehended were also increasing. Moreover, no one came to extract Lu Ming's blood. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had been in the eternal cage for 10 years. After 10 years, Lu Ming was very familiar with the people here. He had become familiar with many people. In the past 10 years, Lu Ming had been focused on comprehending various laws and had made amazing progress. He could finally interweave the 81 laws together to form a divine power. The 81 types of laws were intertwined and transformed into a long spear. Its power was shocking. This increased Lu Ming's combat strength by a little. He could really fight to a draw with a one-star celestial the arch. He had created a miracle that no one had been able to create since ancient times. I've finally perfected the 81 laws into one. I can finally break through to the great emperor realm now. Lu Ming pondered, his eyes filled with anticipation. Lu Ming had experienced too many things along the way. Even in the face of adversity, he would not be discouraged. He believed that as long as he grew stronger and stronger, he would eventually find a way out. Now, he was planning to break through to the great emperor realm. The 81 laws contained all the strongest laws and most of the king path laws. Once he successfully broke through to the great emperor realm, he didn't know how powerful he would be. Lu Ming was very much looking forward to it. I should enter the mountain and river diagram. Otherwise, the commotion caused by the breakthrough will be too big. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He then entered the mountain and river diagram. Fortunately, his cultivation base was low, so the alien race didn't care about him. They didn't chain him or make him wear armor. Otherwise, it would be troublesome for him to cultivate. After entering the river portrait, Lu Ming took out a large number of stones of chaos and supreme-grade raw gemstones and placed them around him. He then sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. 3 days later, Lu Ming's state of mind was adjusted to the maximum. Begin. Lu Ming muttered. At this moment, the world core in his small world emitted a dazzling radiance. The world core, which had fused with 81 types of nomological laws, was now undergoing a shocking transformation. The 81 nomological laws had completely converged, intertwined, and fused together. A quantitative change would lead to a qualitative change. The 81 nomological laws would slowly transform and finally transform into a higher level, which was the Great Tao. This was the process of ordinary people's cultivation. This process could not be completed overnight. It required time. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. At this moment, the 81 nomological laws in the world core could no longer be seen. There was only chaos and a gray blur, like the light of chaos, but there were differences. Boom! At this moment, a violent explosion came from Lu Ming's body. A mysterious aura emanated from Lu Ming's body. At this moment, the color of Lu Ming's world core turned from gray to purple gold. In an instant, it completely turned purple gold. It was filled with a noble aura, high and mighty, dominating the world. Lu Ming's body also emitted a purple gold light, making him look sacred and inviolable, like a god who ruled the world. He had broken through. Lu Ming knew that he had made a breakthrough. He was now in the great emperor realm. Devour. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His body was a black hole, crazily devouring the energy around him. Bang! Bang! Piles and piles of supreme-grade raw gemstones exploded and turned into an extremely rich tide of essential qi. It surged into Lu Ming's body and into his small world. At the same time, pieces of chaos gems exploded and wisps of chaos qi were absorbed and refined by Lu Ming, entering his small world. Lu Ming's small world expanded rapidly. Originally, when Lu Ming was at the peak true emperor stage, the area of his small world was 700,000 miles. At this moment, it was expanding rapidly. As the energy refined by Lu Ming entered, it expanded wildly. 75,000 miles, 800,000 miles, 900,000 miles. Very soon, Lu Ming's small world had expanded to a radius of 1 million miles. However, it did not stop. Lu Ming's small world was still expanding. Chapter 2429 Path of a Ruler. The average person would stop expanding when their small world reached 1 million miles after reaching the Great Emperor realm. However, Lu Ming did not stop at all. He continued to expand at an increasing speed. 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 2 million miles, it's actually still expanding. In that case, continue to refine it. Refine it for me. Lu Ming kept taking out supreme-grade raw gemstones and stones of chaos. A large number of supreme-grade raw gemstones were refined. Fortunately, Lu Ming had abundant resources. Over the years, he had killed many opponents and accumulated a large number of resources. Furthermore, he had obtained too many resources on the Void God Island. There were over 20,000 chaos gems and primordial chaos gems each. There were countless supreme-grade raw stones. Lu Ming did not even count them. If it were an ordinary person, they would not be able to afford to consume them. Lu Ming did not care about the resources at all. No matter how many resources he had, the most practical thing was to turn them into abilities. As a large number of resources were refined and transformed, Lu Ming's small world continued to expand wildly. 3 million miles, 4 million miles. In the end, Lu Ming's small world expanded to 10 million kilometers before it stopped. The others had just broken through to the Great Emperor realm and their small world was only 1 million miles wide. However, Lu Ming's small world had a radius of 10 million miles, which was 10 times the size of others. This was the distance between the length and width. As for the surface area, it was unknown how many times it was, at least 100 times. This was already comparable to a small world of the Heavenly Emperor realm. Of course, the amount of resources consumed was also shocking. Lu Ming had used up 3,000 chaos gems. As for the supreme-grade raw stones, there were an even more shocking number of them. Lu Ming did not even count them. However, it was all worth it. Lu Ming could feel that the world energy in his body was extremely rich. It was not like the world energy that an ordinary great emperor could possess. I'm still a one-star great emperor, but my world energy is many times more powerful than the world energy of other one-star great emperors. Lu Ming muttered. Fliss' current world energy was really too strong. There's a different type of energy in the world force. All of a sudden, Lu Ming sensed that his world energy was mixed with a trace of purple gold energy. Moreover, Lu Ming felt that this energy was extremely shocking and much stronger than world energy. Could it be my great Tao? Lu Ming thought of the great Tao that he controlled. With a thought, his body emitted a purple light. There was a kind of power that he controlled. The power was extremely mysterious, but it exuded a terrifying power as if it ruled over everything. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have become one with the entire world. It was as if the energy of the entire world could be used by him. He dominated everything. Lu Ming seemed to be able to dominate everything. With a single thought, a mountain in the mountain and river diagram in the distance turned into ashes and dissipated. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. This power was too terrifying. If I had only thought about it. This is my great Tao. No, great Tao definitely doesn't have such powerful might. I seem to have become one with time. However, it's different from the heavenly Tao. Lu Ming's thoughts were filled with doubts. He realized that the great Tao he controlled was completely different from the other great Taos. He was certain that the other great Taos would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. However, it was also different from the heavenly Tao. Even his power of the world was mixed with this power. It was different from the great Tao and also different from the heavenly Tao. It seemed to be a brand new Tao. It should be related to my cultivation. One cultivate 81 types of nomological laws, which is why this wonderful Tao was born. Lu Ming analyzed. The fundamental structure of the world was the laws. There were thousands of laws, but the core was the 10 strongest laws and many king path laws. Although there were many other ordinary laws, their effects were far less than the 10 ultimate laws and the king path laws. As for Lu Ming, he had mastered all the ultimate maxims and most of the king path maxims. After breaking through to the great emperor realm, he had mastered a mysterious Tao. I wonder how powerful this Tao of mine is? Lu Ming pondered, then closed his eyes and started to experiment. When he activated this wonderful technique, he seemed to have become one with the heaven and earth. Fliss' consciousness drifted out and extended out of the stone room. Lu Ming saw everything in the other stone rooms. He continued to extend his consciousness outwards. Not long after, Lu Ming saw a layer of light screen. This light screen covered the entire area. At the very top of the light screen, there was a round pearl that was emitting a bright light. The light screen was formed by this bead. Could it be that this is the restriction of the eternal cage? A restriction formed by the evil god race's sacred ancestors' treasure? Lu Ming's heart stirred. If we can open this restriction, we can go out. Lu Ming's eyes lit up, but then he smiled helplessly. Qing Tsang and the others had said that not even a peak heavenly emperor could penetrate this light curtain. Moreover, it had a terrifying offensive power that could even kill a peak heavenly emperor. Then, how could he open it? However, Lu Ming really wanted to give it a try. He had a feeling that he could dominate everything. Phi could even open the light screen here. This was the feeling he got from that wonderful Tao. I'll try. In the end, Lu Ming made up his mind and decided to give it a try. A wisp of purple gold light flew towards the light screen. It was the wondrous Tao. Buzz. Waves spread out from the light screen, and finally, a crack appeared. It's a success. It's actually a success. Lu Ming was ecstatic. The light screen seemed to be under his control. It was an extremely mysterious feeling. Then, Lu Ming quickly put away the wonderful way and the light screen returned to normal. Duo Lei was in control of the treasure and Lu Ming was afraid that he would alert him. At this moment, Duo Lei, who was cultivating in a secret room, suddenly opened his eyes. Could it be that someone is attacking the restriction? You really don't know what's good for you. Duo Lei mumbled as he observed through the bead. He controlled the bead and could observe everything that was happening on the light screen at any time. However, Duo Lei didn't find anything. Phi didn't find anyone attacking the light curtain. Could it be an illusion? Duo Lei frowned. Phi then carefully observed for a while, but did not find anything, so he ignored it. At this moment, Lu Ming was overjoyed. It really worked. He could really open the restriction. This meant that he could leave at any time. This wondrous Tao is too wondrous, too profound. Lu Ming waved his hand and his palm emitted a purple gold radiance. It was the physical manifestation of the wonderful Tao. I've never heard of this Tao before, but it seems to be able to dominate the world. Let's call it the Tao of domination. Lu Ming came up with a name. The Tao of a ruler. I don't know how strong my current combat strength is. Lu Ming pondered. Before his breakthrough, Lu Ming could fight a weaker one-star celestial emperor to a draw if he used all his strength. Now that he had made a breakthrough, his world power had increased tremendously, and he had mastered the ruler's Tao. Fli's combat strength had definitely soared. Chapter 2430. Preparing to escape, Lu Ming had a feeling that he could kill a one-star celestial emperor with just the world energy and the dominator's Tao without using his physical body. One had to know that he was only a one-star great emperor. If he could kill a one-star heavenly emperor, it would be equivalent to crossing an entire major realm to kill the enemy. For it to happen to a great emperor or heavenly emperor, it was an unbelievable thing. The higher one's cultivation level was, the harder it was to fight those of higher cultivation levels. To be able to cultivate to the heavenly emperor realm, which one of them wasn't a peerless genius? Only by mastering an ultimate maxim could one cultivate to the heavenly emperor realm. Therefore, towards the end, it was extremely difficult to cross a minor realm to fight an enemy. Not to mention crossing a major realm to kill an enemy. Moreover, this was only Lu Ming's estimation. In addition to his physical strength, Lu Ming's combat strength would be even stronger. From now on, Lu Ming had entered the ranks of the powerhouses in the Heaven Realm, Primordial Realm, and Evil God Realm. Now is not the time to leave. With my strength, even if I leave, I will be discovered and caught up to. Moreover, even if I leave, in the vast Evil God world, where should I go? Lu Ming started to think again. In the end, he decided to discuss it with Qing Tsang and the others. He might even escape with them. Lu Ming stopped and stood up. He walked to the door and gave it a hard push. The door was pushed open. The eternal cage was not strictly managed. It was mainly because of the divine ancestors' treasure, which covered the entire area. No one could break the restriction. Therefore, Duo Lei and the other alien races were at ease. Usually, Lu Ming and the others could enter and leave the stone rooms freely. To Duo Lei and the rest, Lu Ming and the rest could only move around within the area of the restriction at most. They could not run away. Moreover, those above the celestial arch level had chains and armors that could seal their cultivation base, providing them with an additional layer of insurance. Lu Ming walked out of the stone room and followed the passageway. Soon, he arrived at the entrance of another secret room. He knocked on the door and a voice came from inside, "Come in." Lu Ming pushed the stone door open and walked in. Qing Tsang was inside. Qing Tsang was lying on a blue stone and drinking wine leisurely. "Huh, brother Lu Ming, you came at the right time. Drink with me." Qing Tsang smiled, took out a pot of wine, and threw it to Lu Ming. This wine was given to Qing Tsang by Lu Ming. There was no wine to drink in the eternal cage. Lu Ming took it and took a sip. "Brother Lu Ming, did you have a breakthrough in your cultivation?" Suddenly, Qing Tsang's eyes lit up. Although his cultivation was sealed by the chained armor, his eyes were still sharp. He could tell at a glance that Lu Ming had made a breakthrough. "I just broke through," Lu Ming said. "Let me see, what is the great Tao you have comprehended?" Qing Tsang quickly asked, very curious. Lu Ming had mastered 81 types of laws. He was also very curious about what kind of great Tao he would master when he broke through to the great Emperor realm. Lu Ming nodded. He was about to ask Qing Tsang. Qing Tsang had lived for a long time, so he might know what the great Tao he had comprehended was. With a single thought, a domineering aura emanated from Lu Ming's body. At the same time, a purple-gold light emanated from his body. Qing Tsang's expression turned grave when he sensed Lu Ming's aura. "Big brother Qing Tsang, do you know what Tao this is?" Lu Ming asked. "It's so strange. I've never seen or heard of such a Tao." Qing Tsang shook his head. Qing Tsang looked at it carefully and revealed a surprised expression. "What a terrifying Tao. There's a domineering will in it. In front of this Tao, I'm afraid that ordinary great Taos won't be able to withstand a single blow. Only the heavenly Tao can contend with it. Moreover, your cultivation is still weak now. In the future, as your cultivation improves, it will become even more amazing and powerful." Sigh, what a pity. Qing Tsang let out a long sigh. "Big brother Qing Tsang, what's a pity?" Lu Ming said. "It's a pity that you're locked up here. Otherwise, with your talent, you might be able to create a miracle in the future and break through the last barrier to enter the Supreme Realm. If that's the case, the Heaven Realm might be able to defeat the evil God tribe." "What a pity." Qing Tsang sighed. "Big brother Qing Tsang, we might be able to get out," Lu Ming said in a low voice. "What? Brother Lu Ming, what do you mean by that?" Qing Tsang glared at him. "Big brother Qing Tsang, I won't hide it from you. I've named my great Tao the Tao of Sovereign. I've opened the restriction of the eternal cage through the Tao of Sovereign." Lu Ming explained the situation. "What?" Qing Tsang's eyes glowed with a bright light. Even though he was sealed by the chain armor, a terrifying aura still emanated from him. "Brother Lu Ming, you said. Is it true?" Qing Tsang's voice trembled. He had been locked up here for too long and had no hope of leaving. Now that he heard that he could leave, he was naturally excited. "Yes, it's absolutely true. However, I'm afraid that Duo Lei will soon find out after opening it, so I came to discuss it with Big Brother Qing Tsang," Lu Ming said. "It doesn't matter. As long as I can get out of this restriction, I can break free from this sealing armor. At that time, even if Duo Lei finds out, I'm not afraid of him," Qing Tsang said with great confidence. Qing Tsang was different from the Titan Longhorn and the 9 Lives Devilish Silkworm. Although he had been captured during the ancient battle, his injuries hadn't been that serious and he had long since recovered. As long as he could break free from the seal, he would immediately recover his peak Heavenly Emperor cultivation base and wouldn't be afraid of Duo Lei. Then where are we going after we leave? Lu Ming asked. I'm going to the prison suppression field, so I'm going with Wu Tai and the others. This time, I'll take this opportunity to bring more people out. Qing Tsang said. Lu Ming nodded. He had the same intention. There were too many experts in the Eternal Cage. The number of Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouses was also shocking. If they could bring them out, they would definitely be able to cause great trouble for the evil god tribe. That way, the pressure on the Heaven realm would also be reduced. He couldn't give up on this combat power. Immediately, Lu Ming and Qing Tsang discussed the details. Then, they looked for Wu Tai and told him about the matter. When Mrs. Wu heard this, she was shocked at first, but then she was overjoyed. The three of them discussed who they should bring out. This matter had to be carried out strictly. He had to bring along people he could trust. If this matter was exposed to the alien race, they would probably seal Lu Ming or even kill him. Everything would be over then. After some discussion, Wu Tai and Qing Tsang started to take action. They revealed this matter to some people they could trust and discussed when to take action. In the end, there were more than 30 people who knew about this. Of course, if they wanted to escape, it would not be just these 30 people. Each of them could find an excuse and invite some people to go with them. As long as they did not tell them the specific details beforehand, they could escape together when Lu Ming opened the restriction. In the end, they decided to wait for Duo Lei to gather them before taking action. Because when he finished absorbing battle chi, he would definitely need to cultivate. By then, he would be at his lowest alert. Chapter 2431 Inst-killing the Heavenly Emperor. As expected, after half a month, Duo Lei gathered everyone for a competition again. Without a doubt, Lu Ming was called up again. Lu Ming did not use the way of domination. He only used his physical strength and a part of the world's energy to fight with a 1-star celestial the arch for hundreds of moves. I've broken through. Duo Lei's eyes flickered. He could naturally tell that Lu Ming had a breakthrough. However, even if Lu Ming broke through, he was only at the Great Emperor realm. He did not care much about it. In his opinion, Lu Ming's physical strength was too strong. Even if he had a breakthrough in the laws, it would not increase his overall combat strength by much. After more than a day, the duel ended. Lu Ming and the rest returned to their respective stone rooms. After returning to the stone room, Lu Ming waited quietly. After a few hours, Lu Ming opened the stone door and went to Qing Gang's stone room. When he arrived at the Qing Tsang stone room, he found that there was another big man in the room. This burly man did not know that Lu Ming and the rest's plan was invited by Qing Tsang. Not long after, Mrs. Wu also arrived at Qing Gang's stone room with 2 people. Wu Tai, old brother Qing Tsang, why did you call us here? The 2 men who came with Mrs. Wu asked. These 2 people didn't know the specific plan. We're looking for you guys, just come with us. Qing Tsang said. Then, he walked out of the stone room first, followed by Lu Ming and the others. The few of them were very curious but they did not ask much. They followed Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the group entered a passageway and strolled around casually, heading to the periphery of the Eternal Cage. At this moment, many people began to take action. Those who knew the plan invited 1, 2, or 3 people. They strolled around casually and headed to the place where Lu Ming and the rest had agreed on. Lu Ming and the rest turned left and right, bypassing a few passages, and came to a relatively large stone room. This stone chamber was the outermost one. If one walked through the passage outside the stone chamber, they would reach the edge of the restriction. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, there were already a few people waiting there. As time passed, more and more people arrived. A moment later, there were a total of 133 people. Among the 133 people, there were a total of 300 people who wore chain armors on their bodies, indicating that they were all Heavenly Emperor realm existences. Only 30 of them were below the Heavenly Emperor level. "Everyone, why did you bring us here?" someone else asked. Those who were invited here were also very curious. Qing Tsang and the others didn't answer. "Everyone's here, let's go," Qing Tsang said as he walked away. The people who were invited were even more curious. However, those who were invited were usually very close to someone, so they didn't ask much and just followed Qing Tsang. Gradually, they approached the entrance of the passage. They could even see the light barrier outside through the passage. "Do you want to escape?" Finally, someone guessed what Lu Ming and the rest were up to. Their expressions changed drastically. There was no way to break this restriction. Furthermore, those above the Heavenly Emperor level were all wearing chain armors that sealed their cultivation. It was impossible for them to escape. If he tried to force his way through, he would only die. "Do you want to die?" Some people were a little anxious. "Would we do that if we weren't confident?" "Just follow us," someone said. Many people's faces became extremely solemn and uncertain. They hadn't expected that Qing Tsang and the others would actually try to escape. For countless years, no one had managed to escape. "What are you guys trying to do?" At this moment, a loud roar came from the passage entrance, and a burly figure appeared. It was a foreign being wearing blood-red armor and had a powerful aura. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Usually, there were no foreign races in this passageway. Because the non-human kind was very confident in their inhibition formations, the security was very loose. There was no non-human kind guarding this place at all. Today, a foreign being had actually appeared. Moreover, it seemed that his cultivation was very profound. He was a foreign being in the Heavenly Emperor realm. Unlucky, he was really too unlucky. Qing Tsang, Wu Tai, and the others' faces turned extremely ugly. A Heavenly Emperor alien, this is troublesome. Qing Tsang could tell that this was a one-star Heavenly Emperor. It should be known that those above the Heavenly Emperor realm all wore chain armors. Only those below the Heavenly Emperor realm did not wear armor. They couldn't do anything to this Heavenly Emperor, and once he made a scene and alerted Duo Lei, everything would be over. All his plans would be ruined. Many people who knew the plan were burning with anxiety. What to do? Buzz. At this moment, a figure burst out and charged toward the non-human Heavenly Emperor. It was Lu Ming. Lu Ming took action immediately. At this moment, there was nothing to hesitate about. They could only escape after killing this alien. Otherwise, they would all be finished. Lu Ming's speed was shockingly fast. His entire body was covered in a purple glow. He used all his strength the moment he attacked, using the way of the master. In the process of rushing out, the Great Desolation Spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming burst out with all his strength, becoming one with the spear, and stabbed at the alien celestial Thearch. The non-human celestial Thearch's pupils contracted sharply. He felt a fatal threat from Lu Ming's attack. It was unbelievable that a great emperor could give him such a feeling. However, he didn't have time to think. He roared and used all his power to form layers of defense. As long as he could block this move and escape in the other direction, he would spread the news of what had happened here. Lu Ming and the rest would be finished and he would be able to make a contribution. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming's attack had already arrived. The alien's expression changed. This was because the defense that he had set up could not withstand Lu Ming's attack at all. Wherever the spear radiance passed, all his defenses collapsed instantly. No, no, how is that possible? The non-human celestial the arch roared in his heart. Pfft! A long spear pierced through the void and pierced through his forehead. Buzz! The spear trembled, and the non-human heavenly emperor was torn into pieces. He was dead. Everyone was dumbfounded and completely stunned. A one-star heavenly emperor was killed by Lu Ming in one move. Oh my God, what kind of strength was this? Lu Ming was only at the great emperor realm, but he was able to kill a one-star heavenly emperor with one move. His combat strength was too terrifying. In fact, this was normal. The Dominator's Tao was too powerful. Lu Ming's world energy even contained a trace of purple gold energy. Lu Ming called it the Dominator's energy. Now, Lu Ming did not need a physical body. He felt that he could kill a one-star celestial the arch with the law system alone. Just now, with the addition of his physical strength and the power of the Great Desolation Spear, it was not surprising that he could kill a one-star celestial the arch in a second. Buzz! After killing the alien celestial the arch, Lu Ming did not stop and rushed out of the passage. Chapter 2432 Race Against Time. After Lu Ming rushed out of the passage, he put away the Great Desolation Spear and smacked the light curtain of the restriction with his palm. What does he want to do? Those who didn't know the plan were shocked and their faces changed. It was impossible for Lu Ming to break the light curtain by attacking it like this. It would also alert Duo Lei. However, it was too late for them to stop him. Buzz! Lu Ming's palm carried a purple gold light. It hit the light curtain of the restriction and caused layers of ripples. Lu Ming used the path of domination to break the restriction. The Tao of a sovereign ruled over all things, and it could even rule over this restrictive barrier. Ripples appeared on the barrier, and Qing Tsang and the others watched with wide eyes. Although they heard from Lu Ming that he could break the restriction, they had not seen it with their own eyes. They could not help but feel nervous. Buzz! Suddenly, the restrictive barrier shook. Then, a crack appeared on it. The crack grew bigger and bigger, forming a huge hole. It opened. The light screen of the restrictive spell was activated. Qing Tsang and the others were ecstatic. As for those who had been invited and didn't know the original plan, they were all dumbfounded and couldn't believe their eyes. The light curtain of the restriction was actually opened by Lu Ming, who had not broken through to the heavenly emperor realm. How was this possible? Legend had it that the light screen of the eternal cage was formed by a treasure of the non-human race's divine ancestor. It was indestructible and even peak heavenly emperors couldn't break it. But now, Lu Ming had broken it. Pa! Someone gave himself a tight slap. What are you doing? Someone asked in surprise. I'm checking to see if I'm dreaming. Am I daydreaming because I want to go out too much? So I'm not, ha ha ha. The man burst out laughing. The others were speechless. Go quickly. Otherwise, when Duo Lei finds out, none of us will be able to leave. Qing Tsang roared and ran forward. The others also seemed to wake up from a dream and ran after him. Hurry up, I can't hold on for long. Lu Ming shouted as well. He realized that the energy consumed to open the light screen of the restriction was terrifying. Now, his world energy was flowing away at an alarming rate. Buzz! Whoosh! Qing Tsang, Wu Tai, and the others quickly rushed out and finally arrived outside the light curtain. At this time, Duo Lei, who had been in seclusion, suddenly opened his eyes. His face was extremely ugly. Damn it! He had discovered Lu Ming and the rest instantly through the treasure of the divine ancestor. He was extremely shocked. Lu Ming could actually open the light screen of the restriction. This was unprecedented. Damn it, none of you can leave. Die! Duo Lei roared as he controlled the sacred ancestor treasure. Buzz. At this moment, the bead above the eternal cage began to shake violently. It exuded a terrifying aura, and the restrictive barrier trembled violently. Pfft! Lu Ming felt a terrifying force pressing down on him. His body shook violently and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. The hole that he had opened up was healing rapidly. Fortunately, everyone had escaped. Lu Ming's muscles trembled and he rushed out of the light screen before it could heal. None of you will be able to escape. Duo Lei's roar came out of the eternal cage as a terrifying aura burst out and spread out for 1,000,000 miles. Duo Lei and the peak Heavenly Emperor realm experts had gone mad. It was earth-shattering and terrifying. At this moment, those who hadn't managed to escape from the eternal cage were all shocked. What's going on? What's happening? Duo Lei has gone mad. Could it be that someone is trying to escape? Who is so bold? Many people were making guesses. Everyone, attack. Pursue the escapees and kill them without mercy. Duo Lei's voice was heard again. He chased after Lu Ming and the rest at an extremely fast speed. All the alien races in the eternal cage were alarmed and they chased after Lu Ming and the rest. Someone has escaped. The remaining people who didn't escape were dumbfounded. Someone actually managed to escape. Roar! At this moment, outside the light screen, Qing Tsang howled into the sky, his roar shaking the heavens. A dazzling golden light erupted from Qing Gang's body, and the endless golden light hit the chain armor. Bang! 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 The chain armor kept exploding, and Qing Gang's aura became stronger and stronger. Qing Tsang used to be one of the top 10 battle beasts. He was a peak Heavenly Emperor and his combat strength was amazing. He could break the chain armor with his own strength. However, in the past, when he was inside the light curtain, he couldn't get out even if he broke his armor. He would be suppressed by the Holy Ancestor weapon controlled by Duo Lei. But now that he was outside, he had no scruples. Qing Tsang. A loud roar came from the distance as a burly figure appeared. It was Duo Lei. Duo Lei had arrived. Buzz! A destructive light burst out of Duo Lei's third eye. This destructive light turned into a giant hand that passed through the light screen and bombarded Lu Ming and the others. He was going to kill Lu Ming, Qing Tsang, and the others. Roar! Break! Qing Tsang roared as a terrifying power exploded from his body, destroying the chain armor. With his chain armor destroyed, Qing Gang's aura became even more terrifying. His body emitted an infinite amount of golden light as his body rapidly transformed into a giant lion. It was a giant lion with 9 heads and a golden body that looked like it was carved from gold. It was the 9-headed golden lion, one of the top 10 battle beasts. Roar! 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 The 9 heads howled, and the entire eternal cage shook violently. The space around it exploded into pieces. Duo Lei's destructive hand also shook crazily, but it was blocked. At this moment, Wu Tai and the others were also crazily attacking the chain armor. However, they weren't as strong as Qing Tsang, so they couldn't break through at all. In the distance, many powerful auras rose up. The other powerful beings of the alien race were also coming. Elder Brother Wu, let me help you. Lu Ming came to Wu Tai's side and used his nominator's power to help Wu Tai break the chains and armor. If a ruler's power could break through the barriers set up by a non-human sacred ancestor's weapon, it should be able to break through this armor as well. And sure enough, as soon as the sovereign's power poured into the armor, the seal was destroyed. In the blink of an eye, all of the sealing power was broken. Boom! Wu Tai's armor exploded and a terrifying aura emanated from his body. Ha ha ha, I'm finally free. Wu Tai laughed out loud. His aura was like a smoke signal, rising to the sky and stirring up the wind and clouds. Although Wu Tai wasn't as powerful as Qing Tsang, he was still a terrifying existence. He had reached the level of a 6-star Heavenly Emperor. He wasn't far from the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm. Damn it! Duo Lei bellowed in anger and exploded with all his strength, launching a series of terrifying attacks. However, Qing Tsang wasn't afraid of him at all. His 9 lion heads roared and shot out beams of light as he fought with Duo Lei. The two of them had similar cultivation levels, and they were locked in a fierce battle. Chapter 2433 Escape. At the same time, some powerful beings from the other alien races also rushed out of the light screen and attacked. Brother Lu Ming, go and help the others. I'll block them. Wu Taidao strode forward and killed those foreign kinds. Lu Ming, on the other hand, rushed to the other man to help him break the chain and armor. With Lu Ming's help, the person broke through the armor in a few moves and a terrifying aura emanated from his body. He was also a 6-star Heavenly Emperor from the prison suppression field, who was no weaker than Wu Tai. This time, he was the one who had escaped, along with Wu Tai and Qing Tsang, who were the strongest. Brother Lu Ming, thank you. The man cupped his fists and then rushed toward Wu Tai. Together with Wu Tai, they fought against the alien experts. There weren't many foreign experts guarding the eternal cage. There were only 18 Heavenly Emperor stage existences. This was because the Divine Ancestor weapon and the peak Heavenly Emperor Duo Lei were enough. There was no need for so many experts to guard the place. There were 18 Celestial Thearchs. Lu Ming had killed one earlier, so there were 17 left. Among them, there was only one 6-star Heavenly Emperor. Now that there were 2 6-star Heavenly Emperors, the non-humans were at a disadvantage. Many people heaved a sigh of relief. They were safe now. At least, with their current strength, they didn't need to fear the foreign tribes. Lu Ming continued to help the others break their armors. As more and more experts joined the battle, the non-humans were completely outmatched. After a few of their heavenly monarchs were killed, the remaining ones didn't dare to fight and retreated into the light barrier. Damn it! Duo Lei roared continuously, his face grimaced. He could only fight with Qing Tsang and couldn't deal with the others. They were outside the light curtain, and he couldn't control the power of the restriction to deal with Qing Tsang and the others. That kid, it's all that kid's fault, Lu Ming, Duo Lei bellowed in his heart. He swept his gaze at Lu Ming, his eyes filled with malevolent killing intent. All of this was because of Lu Ming. If not for him, Qing Tsang and the others would not have been able to escape. He could not wait to crush Lu Ming's bones and scatter his ashes. Now, it was too late for regrets. If he had known this would happen, he would have put Lu Ming on the chain armor. Duo Lei, I'll fight you. Wu Tai let out a long howl and charged toward Duo Lei. The other 6-star Heavenly Emperor and 2 5-star Heavenly Emperors also rushed toward Duo Lei. As for Lu Ming, he continued to help the others break their armors. Qing Gang's combat strength was not weaker than Duo Lei's, and with the other 4 experts joining forces, Duo Lei was immediately at a disadvantage. Roar! Roar! Qing Gang's body was as big as a mountain, and he was covered in golden light. His 9 heads attacked with 9 different divine arts. As for Wu Tai and the others, they cultivated the immemorial system, so their offensive power was also extremely powerful. With a wave of their hands, there were terrifying saber lights and sword lights that could split the sky and earth. For a moment, Duo Lei was no match for him and was forced to retreat. Qing Tsang seized the opportunity and rushed over. He clawed out and left a deep wound on Duo Lei's body. Duo Lei's face was pale as he retreated rapidly. Kill! Qing Tsang roared. He didn't want to let Duo Lei go, so he launched a fierce attack. Wu Tai and the others also attacked with all their might. Detestable! In the end, Duo Lei let out an angry roar, turned around, and rushed into the light curtain of the restriction. There was nothing they could do about it. Without the help of the light barrier, the experts guarding the eternal cage were no match for Qingcang and the others. "Let's go, we have to leave quickly, go." Qingcang shouted and turned to leave. A powerful force swept up the others, turning them into a golden light and flying into the distance. They disappeared in the blink of an eye. "Quick, report this to the higher-ups and send people to attack Qingcang and the others along the way. We must capture them." Duo Lei roared and gave the order. All of a sudden, more than 100 heavenly emperors, including a peak heavenly emperor like Qingcang, had escaped. If he couldn't catch them, he would definitely be punished. They immediately sent the news to the 10 royal families. Lu Ming and the rest were also making the best use of their time. Their next destination was the prison suppression field. This was what they had planned long ago. Out of the entire evil god field, only the prison suppression field could accommodate them. Otherwise, even if they managed to escape, they would be captured by the alien races. They would either be captured or killed. He would only be safe if he escaped into the prison suppression field. They had to hurry and get to the prison suppression field as fast as possible. It was certain that the foreign races would send experts to encircle and annihilate them. The good thing was that the eternal cage wasn't far from the prison suppression field. Qingcang, Wu Tai, and the others wrapped the others with their power and hurried on with their journey. As for Lu Ming, he continued to help the rest of the people break their armors. As long as more people could recover their combat power, they would be able to fight even if they were surrounded by the foreign races. They specifically chose barren mountains to fly in. Not long after, everyone's chains and armors had been broken by Lu Ming. Everyone had regained their combat strength. More than 100 heavenly emperors, this was an extremely terrifying force. They increased their speed and traveled through space. They did not encounter any obstacles on the way. More than 100 celestial thearchs. It was too terrifying. Even if the alien races received the news and temporarily mobilized so many powerful people, they could not catch up to Lu Ming and the rest. If they wanted to send people to snipe, they could only send the experts in front of Lu Ming's group. However, there were not many experts in front of Lu Ming's group in such a short time. Even if some experts discovered Lu Ming and the group, they did not dare to stop them. Therefore, Lu Ming and the rest had a smooth journey. They were about to reach the prison suppression field after half a day. The prison suppression field was not an independent field from the evil god field. It was only a part of the evil god field. A vast area was covered in layers of black fog. The prison suppression field was in the black mist. There were large numbers of alien armies stationed in all directions of the prison realm. The two sides had been fighting for countless years. The non-human kind had invested a large number of experts in this place. Because the prison suppression field was also very strong and often sent people to attack the alien races. If the alien races didn't send strong people, they would be killed and defeated by the prison suppression field. In the mountains to the east of the prison realm, a group of people flickered in the mountains. There were about 2 people in this group, and they were all humans. They were the humans from the prison suppression field. There were 6 heavenly emperors and the rest were great emperors. This time, they had come out to ambush and kill the alien races. This sort of thing had happened countless times over the countless years. They concealed their auras and were extremely cautious. This was because they might be hunted down by the alien races when they tried to kill them. After passing through the vast mountains, a military camp appeared in front of them. An army of the foreign races was stationed here. Their goal today was to destroy this army. Kill. The leader of this group was a burly man with a 3-star heavenly emperor cultivation base. He was the commander of this group. Chapter 2434 Scaring the Alien Races to Death. Buzz. Buzz! Buzz! They turned into streams of light and rushed out, killing their way to the camp. Instantly, attacks rained down mercilessly, killing a large number of alien races. Enemy attack! The roars spread throughout the camp. One figure after another flew out of the military camp. This was an army of 10,000 soldiers, and even the weakest one was at the Void Emperor realm. The most powerful general was also a powerhouse of the Heavenly Emperor realm. There were 2 celestial emperors in this army. Kill them! As soon as the 2 heavenly kings appeared, the human commanders of the prison suppression field targeted them and attacked each other. Not good, retreat. The alien heavenly emperor realized that there were 6 heavenly emperors among the people from the prison realm. He knew he couldn't defeat them, so he gave the order to retreat. One by one, the outsiders rose into the air and retreated. At the same time, a brilliant light shot into the sky and disappeared into the depths of the heavens. This was a signal for the other alien races to come and help. Kill! The humans of the prison suppression field started a massacre. They were all elites. There were 6 heavenly monarchs in total, and the rest were great emperors. They could be said to be the elites of the elites. The alien races were killed one after another. In just a short while, they had chased for 100,000 miles and killed thousands of alien races. However, they didn't dare to pursue further. They would be in danger if other foreign tribe powerful beings came to their rescue. Retreat, retreat! The commander of the prison suppression field ordered. More than 2 people quickly retreated. However, they didn't retreat far before their expressions changed. Because behind him, a dense crowd of figures had appeared, all of them from foreign races. There were at least tens of thousands of alien races, and some of the leaders had terrifying auras. There were a total of 10 heavenly emperors. 10 non-human heavenly emperors appeared behind them. The human race from the prison suppression field looked terrible. Not good, we've been ambushed. Charge forward! The commander of the prison suppression field shouted. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the foreign kinds who had just escaped returned. And there were even more of them. Furthermore, the number of heavenly emperors in the lead increased from 2 to 6. Furthermore, one of them had an extremely terrifying aura that far surpassed the other celestial emperors. He was a peerless expert of the alien race, a 4-star heavenly emperor. Hee, you want to ambush us? Don't think that we don't know. We're just waiting for you to fall into our trap. A non-human heavenly emperor sneered. The people from the prison suppression field were in despair. Obviously, the alien races had set up a trap and were waiting for them. Once they made a move, they would be surrounded. There were 6 foreign heavenly emperors in front of him, and one of them was a 4-star heavenly emperor. Behind them, there were 10 foreign heavenly emperors. On the other hand, there were only 6 heavenly emperors. The difference in strength was too great. They were no match for them at all. It was likely that none of them would be able to escape today. Kill them, let's fight it out with them. Right, let's fight it out with them. Killing 1 is enough, killing 2 is enough. The eyes of the humans from the prison suppression field were red with determination. Since he couldn't escape today, he would fight to the death. Even if he died, he would make the other party lose a piece of flesh. Doit, kill! The alien expert ordered. Kill! The humans from the prison realm also roared and charged at the alien races. The 2 sides collided with each other. Instantly, screams rose and fell, from both the alien race and the human race. However, although the human race of the prison guard world were all elites, there were too many alien races, and there were more masters than them. Once they fought, they were completely at a disadvantage, and people were being killed. Kill, kill! A peak Great Emperor wielding a battle blade slashed out and killed a non-human Great Emperor. However, He was immediately sliced in half by a heavenly emperor's axe and died. Tragic, extremely tragic. Not long after, more than half of the more than 2 humans from the prison suppression field were killed. If this continued, it was only a matter of time before they were completely annihilated. Boom! 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 At this moment, a violent boom came from the sky in the distance. The void was constantly exploding, and the rumbles were getting stronger and stronger as they approached rapidly. Even the people on both sides stopped fighting and looked in that direction. Boom! The void exploded, and more than 100 people suddenly appeared in the void not far away. So many experts. Sensing the auras of these 2 odd people, the foreign kinds were almost scared to death. The aura was too terrifying. With more than 100 auras gathered together, some of the weaker alien races were immediately pressed down. Big Brother Wu, it's Big Brother Wu. The commander of the prison suppression field shouted in excitement. Of course, the more than 100 people were Lu Ming and the rest. When they got close to the prison suppression world, they saw a battle in the distance. It must be a battle between the prison suppression world and the alien race, so they came immediately. Wu Lu, it's you guys. Wu Tai looked at the commander and then scanned the scene. When he saw the human bodies from the prison suppression field, his eyes turned red. Alien scum, die. All of you must die. Wu Tai roared. Kill them all. The others also shouted and suddenly started to attack the alien race. Over 100 heavenly monarchs and 30 great sovereigns were too powerful. The non-humans were no match for them. In an instant, thousands of alien races were killed. Go, quickly go. The rest of the foreign kinds screamed in fear. They didn't dare to resist and fled in all directions. There were more than 100 heavenly emperors. How could they fight against them? Don't even think about leaving, kill. Kill. Large groups of alien races were killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. Even the heavenly emperors of the foreign races were instantly blown up. Among Lu Ming's group, there were many 4-star heavenly emperors and above. Kill. Kill. The remaining 50 people from the prison suppression field all shouted in joy. At first, they thought they were dead for sure this time. They didn't expect a group of experts to suddenly appear on the way. Moreover, the number of experts was terrifying. They completely crushed the foreign races. They launched a counterattack. Run, run. The non-human heavenly emperors were terrified and wanted to run away. However, how could they possibly escape when they were surrounded by so many celestial emperors? Die. Wu Tai held off the 4-star heavenly emperor of the alien race and charged forward. 6-star heavenly emperor. The other party was in despair, not understanding why so many experts had suddenly appeared. He fought back with all his might, but the gap between a 4-star heavenly emperor and a 6-star heavenly emperor was too big. In one move, he was severely injured by Wu Tai, and in the second move, he was killed. Qing Tsang didn't make a move, because there was no need to. Lu Ming did not make a move. Previously, he had used up a lot of energy to open the light curtain of restrictions, especially after being discovered by Duo Lei, who had controlled the light curtain of restrictions. On top of that, he had been removing armors for the others along the way. Now, he needed to recover. Lu Ming took out a large number of supreme-grade raw gemstones and devoured the raw gemstones' original energy to recover. This was a one-sided battle without any suspense. A large number of alien races were harvested and killed. Chapter 2435 Another prison suppressing steel. Not long after, all of the foreign races on the scene were killed. Tens of thousands of alien races, a total of 16 celestial emperors, all exterminated. Brother Wu Tai, how did you escape? I heard that you were locked up in the eternal cage of the alien race. Wu Lu flew over and looked at Mrs. Wu with excitement. Before Mrs. Wu was caught, she had a good relationship with Wu Lu, so she was naturally happy to see him again. It's a long story. It's all thanks to brother Lu Ming. Let me introduce you. Mrs. Wu pointed at Lu Ming and Qin Cang and introduced them to Wu Lu and the rest. Nine-headed golden lion. When Wu Lu and the others found out about Qin Gang's identity, they couldn't help but be shocked. All right, let's pack up and go back to the prison suppression field, Mrs. Wu said. Then, they took the storage bracelets and weapons left by the alien race and flew to the prison suppression world. The prison suppression field was like a black light shield covering the land of the evil god field. It formed a world of its own, vast and boundless. Soon, they were close to the prison suppression field. Lu Ming found that there was a light shield in front of him, blocking his way. The reason why the prison suppression field was able to resist the alien races was because of this light shield. The alien races couldn't break this light shield at all. At this point, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. That was because he felt the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel in his body buzzing and emitting a burning light. It was as if he was extremely excited. Buzz! In front of him, the light shield also trembled. What's going on? Wu Tai, Wu Lu, and the others were shocked. The light shield of the prison suppression field had never moved. It wouldn't even shake when a peak heavenly emperor attacked it. But why did it suddenly shake? The people from the prison suppression field looked at each other with worry in their eyes. Lu Ming was also secretly shocked. Is the prison guarding world really related to the prison guarding steel? Otherwise, why would the prison suppressing steel have such an abnormality? Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. He could feel that the prison guarding steel was about to fly away. Lu Ming quickly suppressed and controlled the prison guarding steel, hiding it in his body. The prison guarding steel was the key to suppressing the third bloodline. If the prison guarding steel flew away, who knew what would happen? At the very least, he could not let the prison suppressing steel fly away for the time being. Lu Ming felt that the third bloodline was like a time bomb. Wu Lu sent a message. Not long after, a door opened automatically in the light shield. Lu Ming and the rest walked into the light shield. As he walked into the light shield, Lu Ming felt that the strange movement of the prison-suppressing steel in his body was stronger. When they all entered the light barrier sealed up again. Wu Lu, are you guys alright? Immediately, someone came over to greet him. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the crowd. There were many people and they were all humans. Elder Lu, take a look. Who's back? Wu Lu laughed heartily as he walked forward, welcoming an old man with snow-white hair. The old man swept his gaze across Lu Ming and the rest, his expression ecstatic. Mrs. Wu, Wang Qi, it's you guys. The old man saw Wu Tai and the others and called out in surprise. This time, most of the people who escaped were from the prison guard world. There were not many from the heaven realm. The people from the prison guard world were overjoyed to see Wu Tai and the others return. Elder Lu. Wu Tai and the others went up to him. You're all back. Good, good, good. Elder Liu's face was full of smiles, and so were the others. With so many people back, and all of them were Heavenly Emperor Realm Masters, the strength of the prison suppression field would be greatly enhanced. I heard that all of you have been locked up in the eternal cage. No one has ever been able to escape from that place since ancient times. How did you get out? Someone asked. The others also looked at Wu Tai and the others curiously. It's all thanks to brother Lu Ming. Wu Tai first introduced Lu Ming and the rest, then briefly explained how they had escaped. After Elder Lu and the others heard this, they were naturally secretly amazed. They were shocked that Lu Ming could break the restriction of the eternal cage and even kill the celestial arch at such a young age. It's good that you're back. Let's go, I'll inform the Elder Council and we'll celebrate. Elder Lu said, and then spread the news. Then, they flew toward the inside of the prison suppression field. The prison suppression field was vast, no different from a world. They flew past a large area of mountains and rivers. Suddenly, Lu Ming's pupils contracted sharply, and he was extremely shocked. After flying for a while, they saw a stone tablet in front of them. This stone tablet was incomparably huge. It stood on the ground, supporting the heavens and the earth. It was unknown how high it was. It gave off an infinite amount of light. A pillar of light shot out from the tablet and pierced the sky. On the tablet, there were 3 big words: the prison guarding steel. The prison guarding steel, there was a prison guarding steel here. Furthermore, it didn't look illusory, but real. Could there be 2 or more prison suppressing steels? At this moment, many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Buzz. At this moment, the prison-suppressing steel in Lu Ming's body shook even more violently, especially the 3 big words prison-suppressing steel, which were shining brightly. Buzz. In front of him, the huge prison-guarding steel suddenly shook, and a terrifying wave spread between the sky and the earth. What's going on? All the people from the prison suppression field were shocked. The prison-guarding steel suddenly shook, which was a rare thing. However, it was not over yet. The prison-suppressing steel that stood between heaven and earth was shaking more and more violently, and it kept buzzing. Boom! Boom! Not only that, but violent rumbles also came from other directions. The entire world was shaking. All the prison-guarding steels are shaking. How is this possible? Elder Lu cried out in alarm. The prison-guarding steel was the foundation of the prison-guarding field. Because of the prison-guarding steel, the prison-guarding steel produced a light shield that isolated the outside world from the outside world, so the alien races couldn't get in. Without the light shield, the prison suppression field would have been annihilated if the alien races had gathered all their forces. The prison-guarding steel had never shook so violently before. What had happened? At this moment, the prison-suppressing steel in Lu Ming's body also shook crazily. It was getting more and more intense. In the end, Lu Ming could no longer suppress it. Buzz! Lu Ming's body glowed with a brilliant light. Then, the prison-suppressing steel emerged from his body and quickly grew in size, turning into a giant steel that reached the sky. It resonated with the prison-suppressing steel in front of it and echoed each other. This is the prison-guarding steel. Elder Lu, Wu Tai, Wu Lu, and the rest roared in disbelief when they saw the prison-suppressing steel on Lu Ming. Prison-guarding steel. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His mind whirred. At this moment, he thought of many things. Buzz. Whoosh. At this moment, beams of light flew over from the distance. Each beam of light contained an expert. There were old men and middle-aged men and women. All of them had powerful auras and were all at the world realm. Prison-guarding steel. When they saw the prison-suppressing steel above Lu Ming's head, they all exclaimed in shock. Chapter 2436, The Origin of the Prison-Suppressing Steel. The origin of the prison-suppressing steel. A group of powerful beings from the prison suppression field looked at Lu Ming in shock. They had sensed the commotion here and had rushed over to check it out. They had not expected to see such a scene. No, not only the prison-guarding steel, but also the soul of the prison-guarding steel. Ha ha ha, it's really the blessing of our ancestors. The prison-suppressing steel and the soul of the steel have returned. From now on, the 9 steels are all here. The masters from the prison suppression field laughed like crazy. However, there was a change in Lu Ming's body at this moment. The third bloodline let out a wild roar. The sea of blood was filled with endless blood qi. Lu Ming's body was covered in a layer of blood qi as if it was going to devour him. Buzz! The prison-suppressing steel above Lu Ming's head trembled and emitted an infinite amount of light. Waves of powerful suppressive force suppressed the third bloodline. Boom! 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 The third bloodline trembled violently and exploded with shocking power to fight against the prison-suppressing steel. The prison-suppressing steel buzzed and shrunk. It flew back into Lu Ming's body, suspended above the third bloodline, and suppressed it. The third blood meridian was finally suppressed by the powerful suppression force and slowly flew back to Lu Ming's spine, hiding. Lu Ming took the opportunity to control the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and made it fly back to his spine. The huge prison-guarding steel in front of him also quieted down and everything returned to normal. Everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming. "Little brother, how did you get the prison-guarding steel and its soul?" Elder Lu looked at Lu Ming with a burning gaze. "Prison-guarding steel? Are there many pieces of the prison-suppressing steel?" Lu Ming did not answer but asked a question instead. "There are 9 pieces of the prison-guarding steel, 1 main steel and 8 sub-steels. They are the natal treasures of the ancestors of the prison-guarding world. But in the ancient war, the prison-guarding steel was broken, and the soul of the main steel disappeared. 2 of the main steel's fragments disappeared. Now, there are only 8 sub-steels and 1 fragment of the main steel in the prison-guarding world. Together, they form a prison-guarding formation to guard the prison-guarding world." Elder Lu explained patiently. "I see." Lu Ming nodded. He didn't expect there to be 9 prison-suppressing steels, 1 main steel and 8 secondary steels. The main monument had been shattered, and the 2 fragments that Lu Ming had obtained were the fragments of the main monument. It was no wonder that the prison-suppressing steel had an unusual reaction when Lu Ming came here. "Little brother, how did you get it? You even managed to get the soul of the main monument. We thought that the soul of the main monument had already disappeared." Elder Lu continued to ask. "Senior, the soul of the main monument you mentioned was automatically awakened from my body when I was cultivating. It can be considered my bloodline. As for the 2 fragments, I obtained them later by chance." Lu Ming explained. "A bloodline that was awakened from the body?" Elder Lu and the others were all stunned. "In my opinion, the soul of the prison-suppressing steel did not dissipate. Instead, it took the opportunity to be reborn from this little brother's body." Another white-haired old man from the prison suppression field said. This man was also an elder of the prison suppression field, and his cultivation was unfathomable. "That's right, it's really the blessing of the ancestors." The other people from the prison guard field were all smiling. "Little brother, please follow us." Elder Lu smiled gently and then flew toward the depths of the prison suppression field. The other people from the prison guard field also followed. Lu Ming, Qingcang, and the rest also joined in. Mountains and lakes flew under their feet. They didn't know how far they had flown, but they had come to the depths of the prison suppression field. In front of him, a towering mountain peak appeared. At the peak of the mountain, there was also a stone tablet. However, this stone tablet was only a fragment. There was only a section of it that stood on the peak of the mountain. Just like the prison-suppressing steel, this broken steel also shot out a black light into the sky. This is the other piece of the prison-guarding steel. After combining it with the other 2 pieces in your body, you will have the complete prison-guarding steel. An elder from the prison suppression field smiled. Lu Ming's eyes were glowing. He had never given up on looking for the other fragments of the prison-suppressing steel. However, after so many years of searching, he had not found any clues. He did not expect that the last fragment would be here. Lu Ming could feel that the prison-suppressing steel in his body was shaking non-stop as if it was about to break through the air and leave. "Brother Lu Ming, we have a presumptuous request." Elder Lu looked at Lu Ming. "Senior, please speak." Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The 9 prison-guarding steels are the natal treasures of the ancestors of the prison-guarding world. In the ancient war, the ancestors fought against the enemy and died, leaving only the prison-guarding steels to guard our line. However, the 9 prison-guarding steels are incomplete and can't be used to their full power. On behalf of the prison-guarding field, I would like to ask Lu Ming to return the prison-guarding steel to the prison-guarding lineage so that the 9 steels can be combined into one. This way, the 9 prison-guarding steels can be fully utilized," he said. Elder Lu said. "As expected." Lu Ming's eyes flashed. When Elder Lu had said that he had a presumptuous request, he had already guessed that the other party would make this request. The other people from the prison suppression field looked at Lu Ming with hope. "Senior, please forgive me for not being able to agree to this condition." Lu Ming smiled bitterly and said. "You can't agree?" Elder Liu's face changed slightly. "Lu Ming, you've saved Wu Tai and the others. By right, we can't make such a request of you. However, the prison-guarding steel is too important to us. Please return it. We of the prison-guarding lineage will definitely compensate you accordingly. If you have any conditions, please state them." "Senior, that's not what I meant. It's really difficult to return it." Lu Ming shook his head. Elder Liu's face looked a bit ugly, and so did the others from the prison suppression field. "Kid, you don't know what's good for you. Elder Lu said he would compensate you. Besides, the prison-suppressing steel belongs to the prison-suppressing branch. You have to hand it over." A burly man in the crowd shouted. "What did you just say?" "Shut up." Wu Tai shouted coldly as he looked at the man. Lu Ming was Mrs. Wu's savior. He was naturally unhappy that this person threatened Lu Ming. "What's wrong? The prison suppression field wants to take it by force?" Qing Tsang also spoke coldly, exuding a powerful aura that made one's heart tremble. "Everyone, please don't misunderstand." Elder Lu smiled bitterly, then turned to the burly man who had just spoken. "Brother Lu Ming, you are an important guest of the prison guardians. Watch your words." "Yes, Elder." The burly man's face was a little pale. He nodded repeatedly and did not dare to speak. However, most of the people from the prison-suppressing field were still looking at Lu Ming longingly. Obviously, the prison-suppressing steel was very important to them. "Senior, it's not that I'm stingy and unwilling to return the prison-suppressing steel. I have my own difficulties." Lu Ming sighed. Chapter 2437, The Origin of the Third Bloodline. The origin of the third bloodline, difficulties? If little brother has any difficulties, you can tell us. My clan of prison guardians will definitely do our best to help. Elder Lu said. "Seniors, do you know of the Saint Ancestor Bloodheart?" Lu Ming asked after a moment of silence. "What? Saint Ancestor Bloodheart?" Elder Lu cried out in shock, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. How could the guardians of the prison not know of Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart? The other people from the prison suppression field also showed cold killing intent, as if they had an irreconcilable hatred. "Little brother, could this matter be related to Saint Ancestor Bloodheart?" Elder Lu asked. "In addition to the prison-suppressing steel bloodline, I've also awakened another bloodline, which is probably related to Saint Ancestor Bloodheart." With that, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His third bloodline flew out, exuding a cold killing intent. Boom! 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 At this moment, everyone from the prison suppression field released a terrifying aura that shot up into the sky like smoke. What shocking strength! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. There were too many experts among the people from the prison suppression field. Lu Ming even felt a few auras that were not weaker than Qin Gang's. The aura of a peak heavenly emperor. It was terrifying, and this might only be part of the strength of the prison suppression field. No wonder the prison realm could fight with the alien races for so many years and hold back part of their army. Their strength was amazing. Saint Ancestor Bloodheart. It's really the sacred Ancestor Bloodheart. She's not dead yet. The people from the prison suppression field kept exclaiming and didn't hide their cold killing intent. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and the third blood meridian flew back into his body. Elder Lu was deeply shocked. He let out a long breath and calmed down. I understand now. I finally understand why the soul of the prison guarding steel would awaken in your body. Elder Lu said as realization dawned on him. Senior, who is the sacred Ancestor Bloodheart? Lu Ming asked. Saint Ancestor Bloodheart is a terrifying expert. He's a supreme expert who can slaughter the world. Lu Chonglai spoke, as if he was reminiscing, and a look of fear flashed across his eyes. In the ancient times, a great war broke out. The foreign races attacked the heaven realm. The ancestor of the prison guard lineage was also a human and naturally opposed it. That was the Great War. It said that the few supreme powerhouses in the world were divided into two camps and fought each other. The ancestors of the prison guarding lineage stood on the side of the heavenly realm and the human race, while the sacred ancestor of the killing heart stood on the side of the alien race. In the ancient times, my ancestor and sacred ancestor Bloodheart fought a great battle. The battle was earth-shattering, and even the prison-suppressing steel was broken. In the end, my ancestor and sacred ancestor Bloodheart died together. Now it seems that the sacred ancestor Bloodheart has not been completely annihilated. She still left a trace of her bloodline and has been reborn in your body, hoping to awaken again. However, the ancestor obviously held back and let the soul of the prison-suppressing steel be reborn in your body to suppress the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. Elder Lu explained. That's right, it should be like this. The other people from the prison suppression field also nodded. I see, I see. Lu Ming had a sudden realization. He had always felt that his two bloodlines were very mysterious and did not know where they came from. Now, he finally understood. This was a game between two supreme powerhouses that spanned hundreds of millions of years. It was just that the battlefield had changed, and it had changed into his body. Lu Ming's back broke out in a cold sweat. In that case, he was really in constant danger. If not for the prison-suppressing steel, he would have been devoured by the third bloodline long ago. At the same time, Lu Ming also thought of a problem. When he wanted to break through to the martial royal realm, he needed to merge a bloodline with his body and turn it into a spiritual body. Fortunately, he had chosen the Nine Dragons bloodline. If he had chosen the prison-suppressing steel or the third bloodline, he would not have succeeded at all. Seniors, I can't return the prison-suppressing steel now. If I do, I'm afraid Saint Ancestor Bloodheart will be revived. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Al. Elder Lu sighed, if that's the case, then don't return it. We can't let the sacred ancestor Murderheart be reborn. Otherwise, the divine ancestor and the sacred ancestor Murderheart will work together. Not only our prison guarding lineage, but the heaven realm will also be destroyed. The others from the prison guard field nodded. They still knew the severity of the situation. Anyway, the prison guarding formation formed by the prison guarding steel could still resist the attacks of the alien races, so there was no hurry. However, the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart is also a great disaster. We should find a way to completely destroy it. That's the right way. Elder Lu said. Senior, do you have any ideas? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Although he could borrow the power of the third bloodline to greatly increase his strength and turn the tide at a critical moment, he could not do anything. However, that was a time bomb. If he could get rid of it, Lu Ming would rather not have that kind of power. The Saint Ancestor Murderheart is a supreme expert who has surpassed the Heavenly Emperor. In ancient times, such an expert was called the Ancestral Emperor. He has stepped into a completely different level of existence. He is so powerful that the Heavenly Emperor realm can't even hope to catch up with him. Even if it's just a trace of his bloodline, I'm afraid that the Heavenly Emperor realm can't destroy it. It's only possible if we get someone on the same level as the Holy Ancestor Bloodheart to attack. Elder Lu said. An existence on the same level as the Saint Ancestor Bloodheart? Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Where could he find such an existence? The Ancestor Dragon of the Heaven Realm is a supreme master. If you can return to the Heaven Realm, you will have a way. Qing Tsang said. The Ancestral Dragon? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Everyone, you'd better stay here first and think of a way in the future. Elder Lu laughed. They left immediately and went to an ancient city in the depths of the prison realm. Elder Lu had arranged a place for them to stay. Lu Ming stayed there and cultivated in peace. The evil god tribe had 10 royal tribes, and all of them had the bloodline closest to that of the non-human divine ancestor. Each of them was high and mighty, and they ruled over their own territories. However, there were also differences in strength among the 10 royal families. Among them, the strongest royal family was called the First Royal Family. For example, the first prince, who was ranked first on the longevity roll, was a prince of the First Royal Family. In the main hall of the First Royal Family's palace, they were discussing something. The king of the First Royal Family was sitting at the top of the hall. On both sides of the hall, the kings of the other 9 royal families sat. The kings of the 10 great royal families had gathered. Everyone, Lu Ming has escaped into the prison suppression field. What should we do now? A non-human king said. Humph, that Duo Lei is really a piece of trash. I let him guard the eternal cage, but he actually let someone escape. I really want to kill him with a slap. Another non-human king shouted coldly. Now is not the time to blame anyone. We have to figure out how to deal with it. That Lu Ming has the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. We have to take him down and awaken the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. This is related to our clan's grand plan. The king of the number 1 royal family spoke from the highest point. Chapter 24:38 The non-human divine ancestor awakens. The whole place quieted down, frowning as they thought of a solution. The prison guarding field is protected by the prison guarding formation, which is a treasure left by the prison guarding patriarch. We can't break it with our power. A non-human king sighed. The other non-human kings also nodded. If they could break it, they would have done so long ago. Why would they wait until now? The hall fell into silence again. The matter of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart is of great importance. I can't be careless. I've decided to invite the sacred ancestor. After a while, the king of the First Royal Family spoke. Holy ancestor, please. The other non-human kings were all shocked. The non-human race's divine ancestor had been severely injured in the battle that year and had been sleeping to recuperate. They wouldn't disturb the divine ancestor unless it was an extremely urgent matter. But now, he had no choice but to do so. This was because sacred ancestor Bloodheart was too important. Since ancient times, this world could no longer give birth to supreme experts. There were only so many supreme powerhouses, and each one of them could decide the direction of the battle. Once Saint Ancestor Bloodheart was resurrected and returned to his peak, it would be easy for him to destroy the prison realm and the heaven realm. This matter was worth alarming the non-human divine ancestor. All right, I agree. A non-human king nodded. I also agree. I agree. The other non-human kings all nodded and came to an agreement. They immediately set off. On the non-human sacred mountain, the air shook and 10 kings appeared. As soon as the 10 king tiers appeared, they were immediately discovered. Heavens, what did I just see? 10 king tiers coming together. What are 10 king tiers doing at the holy mountain? Many alien races were discussing in shock. The 10 kings stepped out and headed straight for the mountain peak. The 10 kings didn't have to climb up step by step like the other non-human races. They had the right to reach the top. Many alien races were alarmed. They came out of their seclusion to pay attention to the development of the matter. 10 king tiers had arrived at the peak of the holy mountain at the same time. Something major had definitely happened. At the peak of the holy mountain, there was a cave. At the entrance of the cave, there was a stone door that was tightly closed. This was where the divine ancestor of the non-human race was sleeping. The stone door was carved with dense runes. The 10 kings' eyes revealed deep piety and reverence. Then, they knelt down and kowtowed at the same time. When they knelt down, their bodies glowed at the same time, turning into 10 pillars of light that shot onto the stone door. In an instant, the stone door gave off a dazzling light that illuminated the entire holy mountain. Kacha. Suddenly, the stone door made a sound and slowly opened. Behind the stone door, an aura filled the air. This aura was indescribable. It was majestic and heavy, transcending everything, suppressing everything, and unimaginably powerful. Under this aura, even the heavenly Tao became extremely docile. This was the aura of a supreme expert. The holy ancestor has awakened. The hearts of countless non-humans on the holy mountain trembled, and they all knelt down respectfully, regardless of their cultivation. The sacred ancestor had finally awoken after so many years, and this made countless non-humans extremely excited. We welcome the divine ancestor. At the peak of the holy mountain, the 10 kings of the non-human race bowed respectfully. Why did you wake me up? A majestic and ancient voice spread throughout the entire holy mountain. Many alien races were so excited that they were trembling. They had never thought that they would be able to hear the voice of the divine ancestor in their lifetime. They were truly too lucky. Divine ancestor, the bloodline of the divine ancestor Bloodheart has awakened in a human youth. The king of the number 1 royal family replied respectfully. Killing intent? It seems like his plan succeeded. Where is he now? The majestic voice sounded again. Divine ancestor, there's been an accident. That young man has the prison-suppressing steel in addition to the bloodline of the divine ancestor Bloodheart. And now that young man has escaped into the prison-guarding field, which is a territory formed by the prison-guarding steel left by the prison-guarding patriarch. The king of the first royal family reported. So it's that old man from the prison guard. What a good plan. I understand now. 3 months later, I will go to the prison guard field in person. Before that, gather as many powerful figures as you can and set up the omnidirectional seal formation outside the prison guard field. This is the formation disc, take it. A majestic voice sounded, and then a ray of light flew out of the cave. The king of the number 1 royal family reached out and caught it. It turned out to be a formation disc, covered with strange patterns. Many thanks, divine ancestor. The 10 kings were overjoyed. They bowed respectfully and left. The door of the cave was closed again. That terrifying aura had also disappeared without a trace. Anyone above Great Emperor level, come out and come with us to the prison suppression field. The 10 royal families stood in the sky. The voice of the king of the first royal family spread throughout the entire holy mountain. Yes. Yes, sir. Countless voices were heard on the holy mountain. Then, many figures flew out from all over the holy mountain. The number was shocking. The sky was filled with people above Great Emperor. You guys wait outside the prison suppression field. I'll be there with the army. The king of the first royal family ordered. Yes. Countless great beings accepted the order and flew toward the prison suppression field. The kings of the top 10 royal families returned to their royal cities. Not long after, a large number of great beings also flew out of their royal cities and headed toward the prison suppression field. Countless great beings of other races gathered outside the prison realm. The prison suppression field was also shocked and held an emergency meeting. The foreign tribes have launched a large-scale invasion. They've mobilized countless experts. Judging from the formation, the 10 royal families of the non-human race have moved together. It seems like they're after the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart. We can't give them the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart, that's right. We have the prison-suppressing formation. They can't break it. The higher-ups of the prison suppression field discussed and decided to fight to the end. If the lips die, the teeth will be cold. They naturally understood this principle. Once they handed over the bloodline of the sacred ancestor Bloodheart, the first to be destroyed would be the prison suppression field. In the prison suppression field, countless masters also moved, ready to fight at any time. However, the non-humans didn't attack. Instead, they started to set up a formation outside. The people from the prison suppression field were confused. Was he going to attack with a formation? But now, they could only wait. It's coming? Lu Ming muttered. He came to the periphery of the prison suppression field to observe the situation. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. On this day, a terrifying aura suddenly came from outside the prison suppression field. This aura was indescribable. It was simply too terrifying. The moment it appeared, the heavens and earth fell silent. It was as if the laws of the heavens and earth, the great Taos of the heavens and earth, and the heavenly Tao had all stopped functioning. Only that aura was supreme. Even though they were separated by the prison suppression formation, he could clearly feel it. Chapter 2439 Danger. The Divine Ancestor arrives. This aura, Lu Ming's heart trembled violently and his pupils contracted rapidly. He had felt this aura before. The statue on the Void God Island was emitting this kind of aura. It was supreme and suppressed the world. It was the aura of someone of the same level. It was the aura of a supreme expert. Because of the prison guarding formation, there was a layer of black fog outside the prison guarding field. It was impossible to see through the prison guarding field from the outside, and from the inside of the prison guarding field, one could not see the outside. But now, under the pressure of the aura, the black mist outside the prison suppression field dispersed. One could see that there was a light screen between the sky and the earth that covered the entire area. It was the light shield formed by the prison suppression formation. Outside the light barrier, countless foreign races stood in the air or on the ground. There were so many of them that it was impossible to count. Suddenly, the space outside split open, and a figure stepped out of the spatial crack. However, the figure was shrouded in a layer of black light, and its appearance could not be seen clearly. However, the supreme aura was emanating from this figure. The moment he appeared, the aura became even more terrifying. It was as if he was this world, he was everything, and the heavenly Tao had to grovel at his feet. Greetings, sacred ancestor. All of the alien races were very respectful. Holy ancestor. Everyone in the prison suppression field was shocked. Divine ancestor, the non-human divine ancestor has awakened. A white-haired elder from the prison suppression field said with a trembling voice. His eyes were full of fear. This was an extremely powerful existence, but he was filled with fear when he saw that figure. He was not the only one. Many of the great beings from the prison realm were the same. The non-human divine ancestor was a supreme master, on the same level as the prison-guarding old ancestor. That kind of person was too powerful. He had transcended the heavenly path and the heavenly emperor realm. He had completely reached another level of life. Heavenly emperor-level existences were vulnerable in his hands. Now, the divine ancestor of the non-human race had actually awakened and descended. The clan of purgatory shall be destroyed. The non-human divine ancestor said coldly, his voice filled with supreme might. Boom! The non-human divine ancestor took a step forward, and the entire sky shook violently. A huge foot formed in the sky and stomped down on the prison suppression field. It was so big that it covered the sky. It was even bigger than the entire prison suppression field. From a distance, one could see that there was a dome-shaped light shield around the prison suppression field. An incomparably huge foot, which was even bigger than the light shield, stomped heavily on the light shield. Boom! An earth-shaking explosion was heard. The entire prison suppression field was shaking and many buildings collapsed. The light shield formed by the prison-guarding steel was also shaking crazily, sending out layers of waves. However, he managed to block it in the end. This kick didn't break the prison suppression formation. The prison suppression formation stabilized. Ha ha ha, it's blocked, it's blocked. He can't break it. The people from the prison suppression field were shocked at first, and then they were overjoyed. The prison-suppressing formation formed by the prison-suppressing steel had actually blocked the non-human divine ancestor's attack. Let's see how many moves this broken formation can block. A destructive light shot out from his glabella and turned into 9 huge swords that slashed at the prison suppression formation. Boom! 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 Terrifying explosions kept sounding. The entire prison suppression field was like a small boat in the ocean, being hit by the waves and swaying with them, as if it could be destroyed at any time. The 8 substeels in the prison suppression field shook and shone with infinite light. At the center of the prison suppression field, the broken piece of the main steel was also shining with infinite light, strengthening the prison suppression formation. However, the non-human divine ancestor's attack was too powerful. The terrifying power made many weaker cultivators cough up blood and fall to the ground. Boom! Boom! The mountains were shaken and exploded, sending rocks and dust flying everywhere. Not good. If this continues, I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on for long. The divine ancestor of the non-human race was also severely injured. After so many years, he's still far from his peak. Otherwise, the prison-suppressing formation wouldn't have been able to stop him. If all the prison-guarding steels are gathered, maybe we can stop it. Many of the great beings from the prison suppression field were anxious. After all, the non-human divine ancestor was a supreme master, on the same level as the prison guard patriarch. Although the non-human divine ancestor had been injured and lost his peak combat power, the prison-suppressing formation was only formed by the treasures left behind by the prison-suppressing great ancestor. He wasn't the one controlling it, so there was a huge difference in power. Furthermore, it was only an incomplete formation. How could it block the attack of the non-human divine ancestor? It would be broken sooner or later. Now, they were caught in a dilemma. If Lu Ming returned the prison-suppressing steel, the power of the prison-suppressing formation would definitely surge. However, Saint Ancestor Bloodheart would probably be revived. If he didn't return the prison-guarding steel, he wouldn't be able to hold on and would die. Lu Ming's brows furrowed deeply. He was also considering whether he should control the prison-guarding steels and gather them to strengthen the power of the prison-guarding formation. However, in that case, without the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel, the third bloodline would definitely take the opportunity to devour Lu Ming's consciousness. The situation was extremely dangerous. What do we do? Everyone was extremely anxious. Roar! At this moment, a dragon's roar rang out between heaven and earth. The dragon roar shook the heavens and earth as a supreme pressure filled the air. Walala! In the distance, the void trembled violently and cracked open. A dragon claw suddenly stretched out from the void. This dragon claw was too big and boundless. It grabbed towards countless foreign kinds and enveloped them. At this moment, countless outsiders, including the kings of the 10 royal families, were all terrified. They felt as if they were going to be turned into ashes by this claw. "It's you, you little worm!" The non-human divine ancestor roared in anger. He waved his hand and a huge palm struck out, clashing with the dragon claw. Boom! A terrifying explosion erupted, and the sky within a radius of millions of miles exploded, creating countless spatial cracks. The same thing happened to the ground below. It kept exploding, and lava rushed into the sky. Terrifying, this was too terrifying. Just a single exchange of moves was enough to destroy the heavens and earth. If it weren't for the protection of their divine ancestor, a large number of them would have died. Roar! A dragon roar shook the sky, and space exploded as an enormous true dragon appeared in the air. This true dragon was too huge, at least 1,000,000 miles long. It circled in the sky, covering the sky and the sun. Countless people were dumbfounded. Ancestral dragon. Its senior ancestral dragon. Qing Tsang cried out in surprise. Its senior ancestral dragon. Senior ancestral dragon is here. We're saved. The great beings from the prison suppression field also laughed. Chapter 2440 Trapped Ancestral Dragon, Battle to the Death. The ancestral dragon was millions of miles long and was too majestic. Its body spiraled in the sky and its head had already extended into the depths of the firmament. When the dragon eyes opened, it was as if 2 suns had suddenly appeared in the sky. Ancestral dragon. Lu Ming muttered, his eyes revealing his excitement. The ancestral dragon was said to be the supreme master of the heaven realm. Even Dandan was full of respect when she mentioned the ancestral dragon. Back then, Lu Ming had obtained a drop of ancestral dragon blood and refined it in his body to improve his physical strength. Now, this ancestral dragon was obviously the real one. Roar! Roar! The ancestral dragon roared again. His body twisted and his powerful aura made many alien races pale. In front of a supreme powerhouse, ordinary heavenly emperor realm cultivators would not be able to withstand a single blow. Reptile, your injuries haven't healed yet. Do you think you're my match? The non-human divine ancestor said coldly. Although his body couldn't compare to the ancestral dragon's, his aura wasn't any weaker. It's just a battle to the death. The ancestral dragon spoke. His voice was like thunder, shaking the world. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. When the sky is split open, none of you will live. You will all be annihilated. The non-human divine ancestor said coldly. We can only fight. This was the response of the ancestral dragon. Boom! Then, the ancestral dragon reached out a claw and attacked the non-human divine ancestor. The non-human's body shone with boundless light. In the light, his body grew rapidly and became 1,000,000 miles in size. He was no smaller than the ancestral dragon. The non-human divine ancestor sent out a palm that clashed with the ancestral dragon. Heaven and earth exploded, and the scene was destructive. Set up the 10-directional seal formation. The voice of the foreign divine ancestor rang out. Set up the formation. The king of the number 1 royal family roared. An array disc appeared in his hand, emitting an infinite amount of light. Countless beings of the foreign races made strange hand seals and runes appeared on their bodies. Countless runes were released from the bodies of the foreign races. With the king of the number 1 royal family as the core, they formed a large formation. Endless runes started to gather, forming huge chains that wrapped around the ancestral dragon. Roar! The ancestral dragon roared and wanted to retreat, but he was held back by the non-human divine ancestor. The two of them fought intensely. In an instant, countless chains covered the entire sky and earth, shrouding the ancestral dragon within. The ancestral dragon let out a long roar, causing the void to collapse. He struggled with all his might, trying to break free, but this 10-directional seal formation was set up by the combined efforts of countless alien races. There were countless Great Emperor Realm and Heavenly Emperor Realm powerhouses. The power of the formation set up by so many experts was simply too shocking. Even the ancestral dragon couldn't break free. "Mo-ku, do you think you can defeat me with this formation?" The ancestral dragon roared. Mo-ku was the name of the alien race's divine ancestor. "I can't do anything to you. I'll trap you for an hour. After an hour, you won't be able to turn the tables." The non-human divine ancestor said coldly and then turned to the prison suppression field. Boom! The non-human divine ancestor didn't waste any time. He attacked immediately. A huge palm hit the prison suppression world. At the same time, destructive light shot out from between his eyebrows and turned into 9 combat swords, slashing at the prison suppression world. Boom! 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 The light shield of the prison suppression field started to shake again. The non-human divine ancestor continued to attack. The light shield of the prison guarding steel rippled, and the entire prison guarding world was shaking even more violently than before. It was obvious that the non-human divine ancestor hadn't used his full power earlier, as if he had known that the ancestral dragon would come. Now that the ancestral dragon was trapped by the 10-directional seal formation, the non-human divine ancestor was going all out. The earth of the prison suppression field was shaking violently. Mountains collapsed, rivers stopped flowing, and the ground collapsed. It was like the end of the world. What do we do? If this continues, we won't be able to stop them sooner or later. Senior Ancestor Dragon is trapped. He will need an hour to get out. According to the current situation, the prison suppressing formation can't last an hour. Some of the great beings from the prison suppression field were pale and anxious. When the ancestral dragon had appeared, they had thought that they were saved. However, the non-human divine ancestor had anticipated this and had set up a formation to stop the ancestral dragon. As long as the formation was broken, they would all die. What do we do? Everyone was extremely anxious. Many people's gazes were on Lu Ming. Lu Ming was the only one who could turn the tide. If the fragments of the prison guarding steel in his body, the soul of the prison guarding steel, and the substeels are combined, the power of the prison guarding formation will definitely increase greatly. But what about Saint Ancestor Bloodheart? If I kill him before the Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart devours him, will the Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart die as well? Someone muttered and looked at Lu Ming with ill intentions. What did you say? Are you looking to die? Shut up. Wu Tai shouted coldly. In a flash, he appeared in front of Lu Ming. His eyes glowed coldly as he glared at the people who had spoken. Qing Gang's figure also moved and appeared beside Lu Ming. If anyone dared to have any ideas about Lu Ming, he would attack violently. It was not just the two of them. The people who had been rescued by Lu Ming from the eternal cage were all standing beside him, exuding a cold aura. Their attitude had explained everything. The faces of those who had spoken earlier paled. All of you, shut up. Lu Ming is the savior of our prison suppression field. Do you understand? Elder Lu shouted coldly and then showed an apologetic expression to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled slightly. He was not angry. It was normal for some people to have such thoughts at such a critical moment. If sacrificing Lu Ming alone could save everyone, many people would have the same thought. Heaven and earth were shaking more and more violently, and the attacks of the non-human divine ancestor were getting more and more violent. He became 1,000,000 miles tall, like a giant standing between the sky and the earth. He was like a supreme god, bombarding the prison suppression field as if he was going to destroy the world. A few minutes later. Boom! Boom! The prison suppression field was shaking. The light shield formed by the prison suppression formation was changing. It would collapse at any time. It had only been a few minutes. It was impossible to hold them off for an hour. Gotcha! Suddenly, a voice rang out, making everyone's hearts beat wildly. Because a crack had appeared on the prison suppression formation. Everyone, attack together. Set up a formation and block it together. Elder Lu roared and charged forward. Attack! I swear to fight to the death. Fight! In the prison suppression field, countless people were shouting. They rushed forward like a swarm of locusts and started to set up a formation in a huge open space. There were countless overlords from the prison suppression field, from the peak invincible overlords to the Void Emperor. The number was shocking. So many people had set up a large formation. Their auras blended together and they attacked together. Boom! They struck out at the same time, and a huge stone tablet was formed. It flew through the light shield and hit the non-human saint ancestor. A group of ants, overestimating their own abilities. The non-human divine ancestor's cold voice rang out as he struck out with his palm, striking the giant stone tablet. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.